Hello, everybody. It's Beefy time. Love this time of the week. Love the UFC. And I love doing this podcast with my beefy brother Harrison and everybody that tunes in live and everybody that's a part of it, on any platform. I just appreciate you. We are looking for sponsors. If you have a small business or really any business that is interested in sponsoring the podcast, you can DM us at Dreadful Talk Dom and at Harrison_Madden on Instagram, or you can DM at Beefy Breakdown on Twitter. We are looking for sponsors. We can get your business advertised on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, here on Instagram. So you get like kind of one-stop shop. We blast you out all of our platforms, and we're on a lot of platforms. So, and you just have to, get with one partnership instead of having to go through all those different avenues. So yeah, definitely we are looking for sponsors on Beefy Boys Breakdown. Let me get my boy Harrison on here. Let's get it.
Hello.
Hey, man. It's that time of the week, brother.
Yeah, it is. And actually, I just realized I don't have my fight notebook. I'm going to go grab it while you introduce the card.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, this is Beefy Boys Breakdown, episode 25. We're going to be going over the UFC 255 pay-per-view that went down last night. There were two championship fights, ironically, both at 125 pounds, one men's, one women's. And some absolutely amazing prelims. And we're even going to cover the early prelims here as well. Because, man, if you didn't watch the early prelims last night, and I get it, not everybody has UFC Fight Pass or not everybody does sketchy scumbag streams. But if you missed out, then you missed out, because there was potentially the best fights of the night were on the early prelim, not even the real prelim.
Yeah, I mean, I would say with the exception of Means and Perry banging it out for 3, the prelims were just better overall. I mean, the other fights couldn't hold a candle to him on the main card.
Yeah, for sure. And I got to say, look at us looking good as a unit right now.
You know what I
We're
mean?
just fucking repping hard. And for those listening on audio platforms, we finally got our Beefy Boys Breakdown t-shirt merchandise in. Me and Harrison are both wearing them. We got our logos in the background. We got our logos on our chest. We look like a fucking NASCAR team right now, and I love it.
Yes, sir. Oh, I like the stocking. I need to bring mine up.
Oh, yeah. We got the holiday spirit going on. It's about that time of the year. But yeah, man, got another Golden State cider for this week's episode. When you're drinking before noon, you don't want to necessarily go with the heaviest thing. You got to be a veteran.
I feel it. Yeah, I mean, it's 12:30 for me, so I'm just past the deadline. But just a little ruby red grapefruit. Everyone likes to start their morning with a grapefruit.
Yeah, you got to keep it light. You got to keep it light if you're gonna drink early like a scumbag. You got to do it like a grown adult.
Especially after a long fight card.
Yeah, definitely, man. It was a long one. It was a fun one. I guess we can get straight into it, because the first fight of the night, literally one fight of the night. So, I mean, God damn, it doesn't. No, I think that's honestly a little debatable. Like, I think so too. This would have been my fight of the night.
I kind of thought that Means and Perry had a better overall fight, because this fight was like a great first round, and then it was like, all downhill.
I am not giving that motherfucker a bonus. He can fuck all the way up.
And that is the thing, is like, you can't give Mike Perry a bonus when he misses weight. So I do get that.
Yeah, so that factors in. So we'll get into all that, but this fight, each of these fighters won a $50,000 bonus for fight of the night. And I mean, it wasn't a bad fight. This fight, there was some good fights last night, thankfully. Kind of want to touch actually on the card as a whole before we really dive into the card, just because, let's put the rat on the table. A lot of people were saying that, this pretty much probably shouldn't have been a pay-per-view, and that
that is arguable. It's an arguable point, I would say. I don't think it's unfair.
Yeah. I guess I can honestly see both sides, because, like, literally, I think next week we're literally getting a better card for free.
Oh, yeah.
Than the pay-per-view card. So that alone kind of makes the argument against them. I think the UFC's main two arguments are, A, there's 2 belts on the line here, like let's not chop liver. And B, I think they would probably come out and say, listen here, you motherfuckers, we're giving you about 93 fights, come up off the 80 and shut the fuck up, and we're giving you more free fights next week. So, like, I don't know. I think
I think it was kind of like we've been scratching your back, so go ahead and scratch ours, and then like they can always kind of fall back on the whole. There was 2 belts on the line. So
yeah, and I don't blame him, especially when you think about like the December 19th card, which is Hamzat and Leon Edwards, and then just a bunch of ranked matchups. Like that's not a pay-per-view, so we don't have to pay for that.
Yeah,
so it's
that's
like
going to be amazing.
So it's almost like if they asked me to pay 40 for that card and 40 for this card, like obviously those are different valuations of 40, but I would pay 40 for either.
No, I feel you. And then also, I think the week after that we get the big heavyweights, the Derek Coleman, right, and
Lewis and Rosenstruik.
Derek Lewis.
I always say Rosenstruik. It's Blades. Yeah.
Blades and Lewis. I think we're like
Lewis
Blades.
Lewis Blades.
Combining the first and last names of like the top like 4 heavyweights and just like creating like hybrid people. But
it kind of makes sense.
Lewis and Blades. That's a big ass fight, man. Like there's no belt on the line, but there's heavy implications and top flight heavyweights for free. So I think that's kind of. Now, I don't know. Like I said, I'm sure a lot of fans didn't buy it. I'm sure the pay-per-view numbers are probably awful, I imagine.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
But, I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed the fights. I think the fights themselves delivered, just the card as a whole. I kind of wanted to just mention because usually I'm here dick riding the card like, oh, best card of the year, bro, like every fucking week. But this week, I mean, it was – admittedly a little kind of left a little to be desired as far as like star power goes, but I mean I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm actually a big Davis and Figueiredo fan, so I'm kind of more speaking for other people more so than my true actual personal feelings. I mean I thought it was a badass card, and to be completely honest, I didn't pay for it, so I mean get out of your live, folks. But
yeah, for real, same here.
But I mean I'm saying that just those things established, I thought it was a good card. But yeah, man. Let's go ahead and get into this, man. We got, what is it, Lewis? Is it Koski or Kashi? Or
Kosi.
Kosi versus Sasha Palatnikov.
You know what was weird to me about Palatnikov is he is Hong Kong as far as his nationality, and then he has a Russian name, and then he's graduated from the University of Buffalo and speaks English perfectly.
I know. I was like, this guy is definitely a spy, right? Like
very
part-time UFC fighter, like full-time 007 or something. Like seriously, like Hong Kong, like I don't know, man. He's definitely working for like Mossad or CIA or MI6.
I found it to be very questionable. All those things rolled into one. Yeah, and then he was a plus 400 that looked like he shouldn't have been a plus 400.
That's what I'm saying, dog. This fool's an agent. He's an assassin.
Well, he's the former middleweight champion in a South Korean organization. So he dropped 15 pounds to come over here and fight in the UFC. I know in a lot of Asian fight organizations, though, they do hydration testing, so you can't, like, ultra cut.
That's interesting. Yeah. I know I've heard Rogan talk about that on his podcast a few times. Obviously, I don't know a ton about it, but that's interesting. I don't really know if I'm for or against it. Like, I don't know. I don't really know. I mean, the argument has been made on both sides. Like, both of those horses have been beaten to death, so, like, I don't really want to get into it. But, that's an interesting, notion.
Yeah, it's safer, but you just don't get as crazy of performances, right? Like, you would never see Yoel Romero at 85, so that's not as fun. Yeah. So I get that. But honestly, talking about fun, this first round of this fight was potentially round of the year. I mean, it had that ability.
Yeah, definitely. Just a little more setup. Kosi was 7-0 undefeated, making his debut. Palatnikov was making his debut after being heavily credentialed around the world in these other leagues. And but for some reason, the odds makers had a super lopsided money line. Koski was minus 550 favorite, and Palatnikov was plus 400 underdog.
I was very confused by that. Now, granted, Kosi has this crazy power, but Palatnikov has a chin and has shown that he is a pretty good, like, as far as striking defense, like he's able to roll with shots. So the line confused me. Out too.
Koski is 5'9", and Sasha's 6'1". I mean, that's a pretty damn significant like height difference. But yes, it was a banger. It started off straight out of the gates like a banger. I mean, these guys put on a motherfucking show, and just all the fireworks. Like I said, it literally breaks my heart that out there somewhere is some asshole that paid like $80 or however much for the pay-per-view that didn't get to watch these fights because they, you know what I'm saying?
Dude, yeah.
Like,
yeah,
even if you that's right? Even if you bought the pay-per-view, those are still on Fight Pass.
This was essentially free if you could get it. You know what I mean? Like you could
When
have,
I think Fight Pass is like $5 a month, worst case scenario.
yeah, and you could have done the 1 month sign up or sign up for 1 month free and just gotten it free last night if you were on that. And still $5 for these fights, like every card, like it's worth it in my opinion. And the fight library that comes with Fight Pass.
For sure. Yeah, I'm going to get on it real soon. But yeah, they're fighting at welterweight 170. It was a banger. Who did you give round 1 to?
I was leaning toward Kosi only because I thought he had Palatnikov in more trouble in the start. Granted, their significant strikes were exactly even at 51 apiece. So I don't think I had a problem going either way with that round. I just thought Kosi led the action. And like the eye test for me, I was like, oh, Kosi's winning. But then by the end of the round, Palatnikov was winning. So I couldn't tell you what was fair.
Folks, for those that didn't get to watch it, or for those that did watch it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. They come out. Koshi essentially starts whooping his motherfucking ass. Like Koshi starts, like he has him hurt bad, like within an inch of finishing him. Like he has him hurt, but then he kind of shoots his load, right? Like, you know, Palatnikov survives, weathers the storm, and by the time, like we're like halfway into the first round, and Koshi is shot. He blew his load. He's done. He's toast. And just cardio wise, he put everything trying to finish him, and he got so close, and it just
so close.
He survived, and then he survived, and there's still like 2 minutes and 30 seconds left, and we feel like we've already watched a full fight of action, and there's like 2 minutes and 30 seconds. It's essentially right at like the halfway point of the round, and then all of a sudden it's like a fucking Rocky Balboa fight, like. Palatnikov starts laying it on, and then he comes out and he starts whooping Koshi's ass. And so, like I said, it was really the tale of two halves. Like there was like two stories within one round.
Oh,
it's almost like there was 2 rounds within that round, like 2 minute and a half or two and a half minute rounds within that 1 minute or within that one round, excuse me. But and for that reason, and we talked about this on the podcast, you know, ad nauseum, but the end of the round seems to matter a little more. And so it's like Koshi dominated the first half. Palatnikov dominated the second half. I lean Palatnikov. But, I mean, there's really no wrong answer there.
Yeah.
Like I said, Koshi beat him within an inch of his life. He just somehow survived.
Like that round to me felt like a full toss-up, whereas the second round felt like a clear Palatnikov, and the third was just like a mercy killing almost. You know what I mean? But no mercy.
Yeah, so I also gave round 2 to Palatnikov, but it was interesting because we were saying that Koshi blew his load. He was had drained his cardio like in that opening barrage. But then like a groin shot to Palatnikov, ironically enough, actually benefited Koshi because Palatnikov's nuts were recovering, Koshi got a chance to recover his cardio, and he kind of benefited from a fucking groin strike. But he didn't capitalize it because I said, as I mentioned, Palatnikov goes on to win the round, thankfully. I was nervous, though. I was like, man, if Koshi ends up winning this round and maybe even this fight, all because he got a chance to recover from kicking the guy in the dick, that was going to leave a bad taste in my mouth. But thankfully, that's not really what happened. Palatnikov, recovered pretty quickly, and then, he went on to lead the significant strikes that round. He was a much fresher man. And then in round 3, there was another groin shot to Palatnikov, and that one was kind of bad. Like, that one was pretty direct.
That one was the actual – like, the first groin shot, I thought Palatnikov was selling it hard.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be an asshole when I say that, but it was a punch that got deflected and then just, like, hit the cup. Like, it didn't, like – it even strike the groin. It just moved the cup down, but also,
a soft tap, you feel that shit in your stomach, bro. Like, I mean, any guy out there listening or watching has felt that slight tap. That's like, how does that feel like that? Like, I don't know, but I don't know. So who are we to judge? But I feel you. It was a little exaggerated. But thankfully, on that first one, he recovered pretty quickly. There didn't seem to be a huge deal. The second one was pretty goddamn direct, and
it was a front kick straight to the nuts.
Yeah, and then, Rogan and DC kind of all night were like, man, I mean, these warnings are kind of just like pissing in the wind. Like, I don't know. They were like calling for point deductions to be more stricter. And on principle, I agree with them. Like, there should be consequences, especially the second time. Like, I think waiting until the third time to deduct the points a little much for high-level professionals. Like, again, that's like in football, right? on your first holding call, you get the fucking 10 yards. There's no like next time it's
Yeah,
10
or like
yards.
a face mask. Imagine a face mask. Like you rip someone down by their face mask, and the ref is like, "All right, I need you to stay off this face mask next time." Like that is not how that works.
In principle, I agree with what Rogan and DC were saying there. But if you actually think how much of a nightmare that would be on decisions, like think about how much of a nightmare decisions already are, right? Like it's a shit show, it's a toss up, it's a grab. But what I'm getting at is, so if they were deducting points that frequently, like just think about just the nightmare decisions and all the split draws, and it would result in a lot of like I said, in principle, it's like the whole in theory versus in practice thing. Like in theory, I was picking up what they were putting down, but in practice, I think that would actually be like horrible to watch and just result in a lot of bullshit and just yeah. I don't know. I wanted to touch on that.
Well, especially in a 10-9 must scoring system, I think that creates more problems too when you take a full point for like the 10-9 must. If you're going to take it on a second error, like all of a sudden you made it a 9-9 round or you made it a 10-8.
Exactly.
That's
that
a
results
big
in
gap.
Split draws. Like we watched a fight, and the names are escaping me, but it was a couple of breakdowns back. There was a fight that a guy won, but because he got a point deducted, it was a split draw. And it was just like, okay, well, I mean, do you feel good about nobody goes home feeling good about themselves? Hey, the fans don't, neither fighter does, the judges don't. Like,
I would even say the guy that gets the draw by not losing the point is like, it's not really how he wanted to get the draw.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Brother.
Like, you'd rather just take that L and then be like, well, this happened, like, let me fight him again, rather than get a draw. But I don't know. A draw on my record's better than an L. I'll put it that way.
And thankfully, this fight did not go to the judges, because in the third round, Palatnikov goes ahead and just puts him away. He goes ahead and finishes him off. TKO with strikes. I don't know if you care to elaborate on the finish, but I mean, he pretty much just put him away, finished him off.
It was essentially just a big right hand and then followed it up with what was smart that I really wanted to note for Palatnikov is that he would never chase Kosi to the ground. He would stand and just start raining down hooks on his head whenever Kosi would take the bad shots. That was super, super smart.
Super smart strategy.
Showed a lot of high skill level.
And more fighters should use that. So essentially what happened, folks, is there kept being this position where Kosi would essentially be on his hands and knees. Key point being that his hands would be on the ground, and because you can't knee somebody in the head when even one hand's on the ground. So he would have like one or sometimes even both hands on the ground, and you could tell Kosi wanted to like kick this motherfucker's head like a field goal, but obviously that's not allowed. So he just started like kind of bent over like he was doing a bent row and just started like throwing hooks like while he's on the ground. Palatnikov was standing.
Kosi's essentially bowing to him.
He's
essentially bowing to him.
And then, he's doing this like bent over, like it was crazy. It's super effective. And I just feel like a lot of fighters would just try to go for the mount there, or maybe try to take it back, or just, I don't know. Like I feel like they always dive into front headlock there. I don't know why they do that. Yeah, go for the guillotine. Exactly. So it's like,
and I hate that move.
It's almost like sometimes the simplest answer is the best answer. Like if somebody's hands are on the ground, they're not blocking their face clearly. So he just started punching them, and it was like so obvious yet so brilliant, and it's so underutilized technique.
And Kosi was probably the stronger guy overall, so it was really smart for him to evade clinch situations by doing that too.
And Palatnikov clearly had the striking advantage as far as like being a technical striker. So that decision to not go on the ground and just to finish him from strikes while standing and he's on the ground. Just like it's like the whole brilliant idiot concept. Like it was so simple and obvious, but so underutilized and brilliant. But so Palatnikov gets the plus 400, cashes as a plus 400 underdog, and just like I said, gets a fight of the night bonus. Just what a phenomenal way to start the night.
I was really impressed. We talked right after that. We were both just like, wow, what a fight. Now, the next fight was really good, too, to be quite honest. 185, so middleweight. We always talk about welterweight, middleweight, most entertaining divisions, in our opinions. The first 4 fights ended up being middleweight or welterweight. So just a bunch of freaks fighting at the start. I mean that in the best possible way. It was Kyle Dawkins at minus 320 versus Dustin Stoltzfus at plus 260. Honestly, I thought the favorite was a little heavy for Dawkins, and then he came out and just showed me that I was wrong in thinking that. I mean, he looked
How
how
many people?
dominant.
Sorry, my bad, bro. But how many people were just drunk at the sports bar, saw Dawkins up there, and thought it was his heavyweight brother, and they bet on like
100%.
the wrong guy.
100%.
I'm sure that it almost happened to me. At first I was like, oh, and then I saw it was at middleweight because I just saw Dawkins. Like, I'll be real, a lot of these guys' first names, I don't like. That's a lot of first names to learn. So I was just like, oh, Dawkins, I know that last name. He's a badass. He's that small, athletic heavyweight. And then I was like, oh, he's fighting at middleweight. And then I looked at the first name and like it was this close to getting me.
Damn. I mean, you would have been safe in taking him in this fight, but yeah, you know what's weird about it too is Chris Dawkins 2-0, Kyle Dawkins 1-1. Kyle Dawkins' first loss to Brendan Allen, who we just watched fight.
Yeah, we did.
Last week.
Was it Roy Valley? Oh, no, no.
It was Brendan Allen and Sean Strickland. And Strickland
Strickland,
TKO'd
that's
him.
right. Yep.
Sean Strickland he's dangerous moving forward. Because I like Dawkins and I like Brendan Allen. If Sean Strickland could TKO Allen, then that says a lot. But
yeah, Kyle Dawkins, so they're fighting at middleweight. It was Stoltzfus's debut. I think that's important to note. Which is kind of cool. I feel like the UFC kind of gave Dawkins like a little bit of an opportunity to get on track. Like, I mean, I'm not saying they threw him a bone, but you know what I'm saying. They didn't throw him a killer.
yeah, well, I mean, they made him a minus 320 or, like coming out of the gate, like minus 250 favorite. So they were kind of working in his favor for the first time.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, Dawkins, I had him winning all 3 rounds.
I did too. I thought the takedown in the first kind of got it for him. And did you notice the scramble position they ended in the first round?
I'm good. Break it down for me, brother.
Well, it's super weird because it's almost like they had their like legs hooked to each other, but like if they were chest to chest and they like sat down crisscross and then hooked their legs together, but then they were battling for position, but neither guy could get it because their legs were intertwined like that. So it was essentially like they could just roll the whole time and no one ever had a dominant side in that position. It was so weird.
I'm glad you brought that up. What impressed me about Dawkins was no matter where the fight went, he was just not only comfortable but like good there. Like he was the taller man and the bigger man. Like, he looked huge. He's a pretty goddamn.
He's a
big
really big.
Like
middleweight.
keep in mind his brother's a heavyweight, so I mean.
Right.
He could probably, without a dramatic weight cut, fight heavyweight like his brother because his brother's like a really light heavyweight that doesn't cut weight. So, I mean, they're probably about the same size when they're at mom's house for a barbecue in the summertime. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and he looked like it. What I'm getting at is Dawkins was the much bigger man. So, like, whenever they were like at a B range, that's a term I picked up last night to sound more legit. That B range, that kind of kickboxing range where it's not like in close, but it's like, it's in striking distance. So that's called B range for those listening or watching it. So like when Dawkins was in the B range, he had the clear advantage being the much more taller, bigger guy. And his striking looked really loose. He was the kind of guy, he wasn't going for the big shot. He was firing him down the middle. He looked good striking. But then, like you said, they were getting these crazy scrambles, and he looked good in the grappling. In the first round, he won the first round due to his beautiful takedown and then proceeded to ground and pound. And then what I thought was interesting is usually how many times, right, does a guy win the first round and then in the second round our breakdown notes are like more of the same. What I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, that's a great take, honestly.
Yeah, so what I thought was really interesting, he won the first round on top, like in ground and pound grappling exchanges, scrambles, and then in the second round, it was like B range technical clinical striking, and I thought that was just so cool that he showed both of those skill sets.
He showed like a huge diversity. He also looked really good in the clinch, like up against the cage. He was so strong.
So really all 3 phases on the ground,
standing or in standing clinch.
And clinch. Was super effective in all 3 and super comfortable in all 3. Just there was no panic to him. It was like his body language was like loose and fluid.
And I would note too, in the third round, he fought the third round so smart. So smart. He did. Like he stayed away from dangerous positions. And at the very end of the fight, you could tell Stoltzfus was going for something crazy, and Dawkins knew it and just continually kept the distance. Like, shout out to Dawkins. Now, I do want to touch on one judge scored it. So we agree we scored all 3 rounds for Dawkins.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
All 10-9s.
Me too. One judge gave it a 10-8 in the third round, and I was real confused.
I wasn't that confused. I almost did myself, bro. I was pretty close to. I did it. Here's the only reason why. and it's almost a summation of what we just talked about in rounds 1 and 2. He dominated all 3 phases in one round. There was
It's a good point.
in that same round, it was like a microcosm of the previous 2 rounds. Like they went ground, clinch, and stand up, and Dawkins was comfortable and not in any threat in any of those positions. So not by any means a dominant 10-8, and I didn't give it a 10-8. But I was teetering. I was like, damn, does dominating in all 3 positions get you a 10-8? So, like, I don't know. I don't think it's like super out of line.
That's a good question, just on the whole. Like, if you can dominate all 3 phases, all 3 positions of a fight in a single round, like, does that warrant a 10-8? And should it? Like, probably should.
Because we say all the time, like, we've seen it in fights, right, where, like, a fighter will have somebody's back for, like, 4 minutes out of the round, and we're like, that's a 10-8.
Right.
So is dominating one position more impressive than dominating 3 completely separate skill sets? Like at face value, you're like, oh, having the back for 4 minutes is more dominant because you're in total control. But if you just kind of take a step back and like, or do you dominate a guy at 3 different things? Like, is that more impressive? You know what I'm saying? It's a fun conversation to have. I'm not saying there's really wrong answer.
It's kind of the Khabib versus, like, in this case, Dawkins argument. Like, Khabib can dominate one phase of a fight more than any other man alive. So much more so that, like, he'll give him a 10-8 for how dominant he is, right?
Yeah.
But then the opposite can be true as well, where, like, well, the guy can just be not as dominant in one position, but still dominant in all 3. And I think that should warrant a 10-8. Honestly, I've talked myself into it.
Yeah, there's an argument. There's a strong argument to be made for a 10-8. But, I mean, it's kind of splitting hairs here because either way, he was going to get the unanimous. I mean, he was a minus 330 favorite. He looked like it. I mean, Stoltzfus just didn't really show me much, like, especially for a debut. Like, I feel like for a debut, like, even if you lose, you got to, like, show me, oh, he lost, but he has power. He lost, but he's a damn good grappler. Like, I just didn't really see much. I mean, obviously he's good to get the opportunity, but, I mean, we'll see. Maybe he'll get an opportunity to show more. It's a tough matchup for him, but I don't know. We'll see. He didn't seem to impress me much.
Yeah, it wasn't. My takeaways are I love Dawkins moving forward, and Stoltzfus, I'll watch his next fight. I mean, I'll watch anyone fight. But I would actually, like, whatever his matchup is, I'll watch it.
Well, especially because, like, earlier this week I was watching this thing, and I watch so much UFC content, I just forget exactly where I saw it, but it was maybe Twitter, whatever the fuck. But I saw this thing, he was talking here, and he was kind of openly admitting, he's like, the UFC roster right now has never been more inflated. Like, it's as big as it's been because we're putting on more promotions than ever, and we're looking where there's star roles that need to be filled, and they're just, like, expanding right now. It's almost like when the NFL does expansion teams or whatever. The expansion team usually sucks. And
that's a good point.
And Stoltzfus just reminded me, like, and maybe it was hindsight 2020 because I'd already heard Dana say that before I watched it, but I was like, he's one of these fluff guys. Like, he didn't strike me as like a real UFC guy, but I don't know, maybe. But we'll keep it pushing because this next fight was a really interesting storyline, and the fact that this fight was on the early prelim was kind of shocking to me.
I found it a little disrespectful to Alan Joban. Like, he's been a fighter for so long for the UFC. Like, how do you just throw him on the prelims?
And Joban has, like, he's always on podcasts. He has a good social media presence. Like, he's well known. Like, I knew him more for out of the octagon stuff than in the octagon stuff. Like, I'll fully admit it. Like, he goes on Schaub's podcast with Florian and like.
Well, he's a male model too. Like, outside of actually fighting, like, he's a real, like, I believe Gucci is the brand he models for, but, like, he legitimately is a fashion model.
He has a Q rating. He has, like, like, I don't want to say maybe star power, but you know what I'm saying? For an early prelim, like, I wouldn't even, but anyway, I mean, I'm thankful for it because I was watching the early prelims, but I feel you. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, oh, and it's potentially his last fight ever, and I was like, oh, I didn't get him on the early prelim, but
Jared Gooden's a tough opponent too for your last fight out because, like, Jared Gooden has a steel chin. He always gets rocked, and I've never seen him get put out. It's crazy.
Yeah. His ability to not panic is what impressed me. It's like this uncoachable thing to where his, like, fight or flight just doesn't kick in. It's just like stick to the game plan. Like, I don't know. It's really just like a quarterback that doesn't get upset after he throws a pick. Like, it's like that, but like the fighter version, like, he'll just get rocked and just stay calm. Like, even when he's, like, clearly in danger, he's just not panicking. But yeah, we'll get into it a little bit. Jupon was minus 150 favorite. Jared Gooden plus 125 underdog. Welterweight 170. like I said, Juban, I think he's 39 years old. He was kind of openly just talking about, like I said, he's on a lot of podcasts and stuff. He's pretty much been telling people he's pretty sure this is the last one, like not officially retiring, but I mean, it's looking like it. But he wanted to go out on a high note, and he wanted to. He was mentioning he wanted to his son to actually have because his son's obviously older now, so like he wants to be able to remember seeing his dad do good because he's had a couple of losses I think lately. So, and so yeah, I mean. Did you have Gooden win it in any rounds? I didn't.
Nope.
No, yeah,
I sure didn't.
Juban was so technical because I mean this was kind of the classic matchup versus like the technical veteran versus like the young, like our up and coming power punching, like no, you know what I mean, badass like dude. And
Juban's kicks, by the way, looked amazing.
I literally have round one Juban body kicks. Like seriously, his kicks to the body. Was it his left leg? I think.
His left leg's his dominant power leg and kicks, and like, dude, he was landing it clean on the body, and then even when he landed it up top and Gooden would block it, you could see the power going like through Gooden's arms, like it wasn't comfortable for him.
Yeah, and especially in the first round because Juban's gas tank kind of seemed to be an issue later in the fights, but that first round he was winging those kicks. They were super effective. They were landing. They were accurate. They were powerful. And then so I definitely had him win in round one. And then in round two, Juban had him like really hurt. A lesser man. You were commenting on Gooden's chin, and I was commenting on his ability to stay calm like when he's hurt, and that was on full display in round two because many lesser men would have been finished in round two. Juban had him on the quote unquote ropes, like
one of my notes for round two was that Juban was cracking Gordon with like right-left combinations and following him up with like body kicks. But Gooden would just eat him. And like he would like literally like, his head would snap with the punches because of the force. And he would like look back at Juban like, okay, let's get more going. And it's just like, what the hell?
And he wasn't doing the whole generic smile or chuckle it off.
Nothing.
Just like Terminator. Just nothing.
Right. We're just like look back at him and be like, okay. It was great.
Yeah, seriously, it was impressive. And then he had the Juban late in round three had this super deep sub attempt in, and I kind of thought it looked like Gooden was tapping. I don't know. Did you have an opinion on that?
I thought whenever he was slamming his shoulder on the ground, he was tapping, or whenever he rolled over and started like waving his arms like a freak.
Like potentially two different ones, right? Like, but
what was great too is whenever his corner calls out to Juban 15 seconds, and he looks over and he goes 15 seconds and like nods his head, and I guess his corner was like, and he goes, let's go, and just like starts cranking that guillotine. I was like, oh, and you could tell Gooden did not love that. He did not love that.
I'll be real. When Juban first had that position, I honestly thought, especially Juban being older and especially his gas tank looking a little questionable.
He was just going to hold him there. And
I thought he was going to ride it out because he had
too.
clearly won every round. So
right.
And I'm not even saying it would have been whack if he did that. I honestly was like this kind of smart fight IQ thing to do in a way, kind of like running out the clock in a football game. But no, he was like, he looked over, he started talking shit to their corner, like, and I thought he essentially got the finish. Like I think the ref didn't. I legit think the ref didn't want to call a tap that close to the bell.
Yeah, with like 3 seconds to go in a fight that was just a war all the way through.
And it was kind of a questionable tap. It's not like it was a clear tap. But I thought he was kind of trying to tap, or I don't know, maybe he was having like a mental war with himself. Like, am I tapping or am I not? Like,
once again, this goes back to Gooden's mental toughness. Like, a lesser man probably taps in that guillotine. It was tight and deep, and Juban was squeezing. Yeah, great point.
I mean, Gooden's a tough son of a bitch for sure. I mean, he definitely. Vegas had it scored pretty, or the money line pretty close there. But, I mean, Juban on paper, it was one of those fights where on paper, Juban dominated. And technically, like, he was super technical, like, technique-wise, he did dominate. But if you watch the fight, like, if it was a street fight, like Gooden was fucking in it till the end, man.
Yeah, and Juban had a headbutt early on that, like, closed his right eye up for the most part.
True.
So, like, street fight sense, like, if you looked at both guys after, you'd be like, wow, they went to a war. And it wasn't.
If you look at the
Juban was
strike
just
numbers, it wasn't even close. Yeah.
Right,
for sure.
right.
But so that wraps up the early prelims, the fight night prelims. And man, All right, so like if we were grading like early prelims, and main card, like if we were just giving like lumping them together, giving them
Early
individual,
prelims took the
they
awards
take the
home.
cake, don't
Yeah,
they?
by far. By far,
Yeah.
it was like maybe the best 3 fights. Like, they were amazing. Yeah, you could argue Rodriguez and Dalby, but Rodriguez-Dalby was a weird fight in the sense that Rodriguez doesn't throw a lot, and we're going to get to it next. But
Yeah, I did not like this fight, and I hate. Oh yeah, let's get to it honestly, because I have some
let's just go ahead and go
spicy
into it.
takes on this
Well,
one.
so I'll introduce it, and then you just take over after.
Oh
So it's
man,
welterweight Daniel Rodriguez minus 330 versus Nicholas Dalby plus 260. What'd you think?
I thought Dalby clearly won this fight. Like clearly, like not even debatably, like not even like I thought there was more controversial fights on this very card than this one. And
Wait, Dalby or Rodriguez?
no, I had Dalby winning.
Okay,
clearly.
me too. I just
Yeah.
want to make sure.
No, but then DC is acting, and Rogan to a lesser
What was
extent,
up with them?
They
Like,
were acting like it
affecting
was a
the story.
highway robbery, and I was like, "What?" I mean, I know who the fuck am I to call out DC and Rogan, but
The judges agreed with us.
what were they watching? Like, what did Rodriguez do?
Okay.
Rodriguez was not throwing dick. He was literally just standing there getting kicked. Like, what? And I've talked about this on previous episodes. Like, I pride myself on being a guy who's empathetic, who can play devil's advocate, who can like put myself and like make an argument for a position that I don't personally hold. Like, I pride myself on that ability. I can't fucking find it. Like what? And like DC was like dying on this hill. DC was like going hard.
That was
And
the
I
thing
love
that
DC.
like
I love
couldn't
Rogan.
understand. I couldn't understand DC being like, "There's no way Nicholas Dalby's winning this fight." Like, yeah, there is. There's all the ways. There's all the ways.
I'm so
was
glad,
confused, man.
honestly, because bro, like honestly, if you would have agreed with DC, I'd be like, oh, maybe I'm crazy. I would have like gaslit myself. But like,
no,
seriously,
man,
like we're on the same page, right? Like we were watching the fights, like at the same time we were watching it live. Like Dalby was super effective. He made it his fight. Like so much of who wins a decision is who made it their fight. Like
who fought their fight and not the
we
other
love
guys.
making the football examples, and so I'll make another one. So if there's a team with like a high scoring Big 12 style offense, they score 45 a game, and then they go up against like a staunch SEC defense that allows 10 points a game. The classic analysis is going to be like, well, you know, the Big 12 teams are going to have to make it a shootout. If they want to win, it's got to be a high scoring game.
Yeah.
And then the the defensive teams like, oh, they have to make it ugly, ball control, make it an ugly game, make it a low scoring game, and they'll win. The same is true for fighting. Whoever like establishes their like the range and the distance and the timing and quote unquote like makes it their fight, like establishes like Khabib's a master at this.
Yeah,
He
absolutely.
takes the fight where he wants it to go.
Conor is also good at that in the opposite way, and you can tell by the way, just to make that point, that Khabib is clearly the best at that because no one can fight their fight against Khabib. They all fight his fight, and they all train to not fight his fight, which is even more impressive.
Exactly, bro. And so I say all that to say, and then we'll get to the round by round, but just on the whole, the macro, not the micro, Dalby, this whole fight took place at his range, at his pace.
His pace. I'd say pace is the number one thing for me in this.
And range, though, because Rodriguez, his whole thing was to get inside and make it ugly. And Dalby kept it at, and I'll say it again, B range the entire fight. He mastered that B range and kept it at B range, and they never once really got to A range. And Rodriguez's whole thing he was trying to do was get to A range. And then even DC was like contradicting himself because the whole fight, DC was like, Rodriguez needs to get in close. Rodriguez needs to get in close. Oh, Rodriguez
he needs to turn this into a dogfight. He wants to make it a street fight.
And he never did. And then afterwards,
right.
he's like, how did
Rodriguez
lose? He literally contradicted himself. Like, I know I'm like going crazy here, and no, I'm not yacked out, y'all. It's my room got like 40 degrees last night. I got a little bit of a runny nose. It ain't the Rona. Good old fashioned cold weather runny nose. But anyway, Man, so I don't know. Let's get to the round on round. Been on my soapbox, but
Yeah, for
you're
sure.
with me. You're with me, right? Like
Yeah,
I
and
said,
honestly,
DC the
like,
whole fight was calling for Rodriguez to do something. Rodriguez was never able to do it. What DC was calling for, and then after the fight, DC said that Rodriguez was clearly won. I was like, "What are you talking about, bro?" Like I
well, for me, I
legitimately
mean,
wonder if Rogan gave him a fucking star of death.
like I was, yeah, it was Joey Diaz stars of death. I was
Yeah.
live tweeting my scores for the rounds. I had Dalby winning 1 and 2. I had him going into the third up 20-18. Rodriguez didn't seem to have that urgency whatsoever in the third, and I have no respect for that. The best Rodriguez could have felt about that was 1-1 going into the third. Why
And
would you not be
Rodriguez,
more urgent?
you know what? Maybe Cormier put some money on it because Rodriguez was minus 330 favorite. I don't know.
Well, Joe Schilling is
Another
Rodriguez's coach, his striking coach, and Joe Schilling is one of Rogan's really good friends. I don't know about DC's relationship with Schilling, but that's one of Rogan's really good friends. It's almost like when you see a fighter cornered by Eddie Bravo, Rogan will never speak about it because he knows that the fucking internet's coming for him the minute he starts saying anything good about this guy's jiu-jitsu when he's coached by Eddie Bravo. And it makes sense. When you have a personal relationship with someone, you're
yeah.
going to be biased.
All
So
right.
Rogan, I
So
see the bias. DC, I don't.
I actually disagree with you, I gave round one to D-Rod. I really did. It was a very close round.
Really?
But I actually he finished the round strong, and I thought he had Dalby kind of hurt at the end of round one. At the very end of round one, I thought he had Dalby hurt. And I don't think in round one Dalby ever had Rodriguez hurt. So I gave round one to Rodriguez. But I gave round two Dalby kicks, that B range. Like I was talking, the body kicks, the B range kicks were there all fucking night, all day, all night. And then whenever Rodriguez was actually able to get it in close in the second round, I thought Dalby dominated the clinch.
Well, Dalby would actually engage him in the clinch, and then he would subdue the striking. So D-Rod wants to be in like a tight grappling game where you're trading and you're throwing in the pocket, like a real street war would go. And that just never was going to be Nicholas Dalby's perspective because his movement was great. Like his conditioning was great, Dalby, and it had to be because he had to continually move, keep distance, really great footwork, play off the edges, circle in and out. I was impressed with Nicholas Dalby's game plan.
Well, and Rogan, and then we're talking about his traditional martial arts stance, more that karate style stance, the super wide base.
D-Rod struggled with that.
Yeah, he had no answer. So that's why I just don't understand. All right, so I say no answer. In round one, I gave it to D-Rod, but it wasn't a dominant round one. Like it could have gone either way. You gave it to Dalby, and I'm not mad
I scored
at
it for Dalby, but I did note D-Rod won the end of the round and had him in danger. Like I even wrote that in my notes, and I wrote if Dalby slows down, he's going to pay for it big time.
Yeah, exactly. So I gave round two to Dalby. So I pretty much had it 1-1. Whoever wins the third round wins the fight. And like I said, that's being generous to D-Rod. And then what the fuck is the argument for D-Rod winning round three? That's really what this fight comes down to.
It was low activity.
It was low activity.
That's the argument. Because Dalby had pressed this huge pace for the first 10 minutes. So when his pace drops off, it almost looks like they're fighting D-Rod's fight. So I kind of can get the perception, but still Dalby was outlanding him.
That's fucking lawyer ball at its finest. Man, what the fuck
we talk about
that?
fighting. We talk about you want to fight your fight and not fight someone else's. Well, Dalby started to fight D-Rod's fight in the third round because he was tired.
Okay. I feel you. I still had it to Dalby. Did you give round three to Dalby though? Like
I wanted to score all 3 rounds to Dalby.
Okay.
I did.
All right. And then we'll keep it pushing. Ends up being a unanimous decision. All 3 judges gave it to Dalby.
30, 27, 28, 29, or 29, 28 times 2. So 2 judges with you, 1 judge with me.
Yes.
DC and Anik can get fucked.
DC, Anik, and to a lesser extent, Rogan, all were like, oh, highway robbery. Like, what?
Yeah, unbelievable, dude. Unbelievable. And they were bringing up Felder as their point of contention. Like last week, a judge scored the fight for Felder. That's not the same fighter judges.
Yeah, no, I thought, like I said, who am I to call them out? Feel free to comment that. I know some asshole probably will. Probably Javier Rodriguez. He's my YouTube hater, but he
Love you, Javier.
yeah, love you. Buy a shirt, baby boy. But he fucking, I didn't know, man. Like I'll they died on that hill, so I'll die on mine. Like I think they are wild, and I tweeted out. That's I don't know anybody that follow at Beefy Breakdown on Twitter. I tweeted out DC wilding right now, and that's what I was referring to.
Yeah.
DC was just like going in, like firmly like entrenching, digging his heels in the sand, and I was like, what? Like I don't know. I guess we can keep it pushing, but I
Like,
thought he was wild.
DC decided to. He died on a D-Rod hill, and for what? For who? Like, I don't get it, bro.
Prelim, like it's not like a belt was on the line. Like, and even if it was, Dolby would have won that fucking belt. Like, Dolby won the fight. But anyway, so Dolby actually cashes at the plus 260 underdog. So, like, 2 out of the first 3 fights were underdogs. So, I mean, anybody that was, crafty enough to bet on an early prelim kind of got rewarded for it.
Yeah, honestly, and like, I missed my picks on both those fights. Now, I did note in the Palatnikov fight on my notes on it that it's dangerous and unknown, so probably best to not bet it. But I did pick Kosi. So right now I'm riding 2 and 2 in my picks. I didn't miss one the rest of the night after this.
See, I did, bro, and I'm gonna own this.
But you're betting with your heart, not your brain. And I get that.
No, bro. I swear to God, I did my research on that. I pulled up like their last fights. Like I swear, I actually dug a little deep. I thought I was fucking Sharp McGee. I'm not on this. I'm not gonna give myself any cop outs. I put myself out on a limb, and when you put yourself out on a limb, you gotta eat shit. So I'm gonna eat my shit. On this next fight in particular, I was riding hard for Lipsky all week. Even on my other podcast, my Dreadful Talk podcast, I did a UFC 255 preview because I was talking about on the podcast how we always get to do the breakdowns of what actually happened, but we never get to engage in much conjecture or preview. And I wanted to, so I did it, and I fucking put my reputation on the line. I stuck my neck out, and I ate shit. But it's okay.
It's all good.
I'll explain my logic, but yeah, we'll there's a lot of my logic on this because so Antonina Shevchenko had recently lost to Chikagian, correct?
Yes, by a grappling matchup.
And so I was down on Chikagian, and so I thought that was a bad loss for Shevchenko, and Lipsky's been on this tear. That was kind of my logic, and I'll be real, I completely underestimated Shevchenko's grappling, which most of the world did, including DC and Rogan. They were all shocked as well. And
especially for Antonina. Like, everyone knows Valentina's got great grappling, but Antonina does not. So that I was surprised. I will absolutely say I was surprised.
And then Lipsky's been having this dominant ground and pound lately. So I don't know. I put 2 and 2 together, did some UFC math, and I thought I had shit figured out. And this will prove later in the fight, but spoiler alert, Chikagian looks absolutely phenomenal. And then whenever I saw how good Chikagian looked, I was like, damn, I based my whole Lipsky pick on Shevchenko losing to Chikagian, who I was down on, and that's where I made my mistake. And then Chikagian looks phenomenal. I'm like, yeah, I got to eat like triple shit on this one.
To be honest, I'll just fast forward to it. I did pick Chikagian to win that fight outright as a dog. Only because, dude, she's riding a loss streak. Caitlin Chikagian was to Valentina Shevchenko and either like Andrade or Amanda Nunes. It's like girls that every other girl at 125 would get smoked by.
I know, and I read too much into that, and I was down on Chikagian, which will lead me to be down on Antonina. I just did too much UFC math. I did too much UFC math. That'll bite you in the ass, betters. Learn from my mistake. But, yeah, go ahead and introduce the fight.
Yeah. So 125, women's flyweight, the sister of the champion that is the co-headliner of the card. So Antonina Shevchenko, minus 135. She turned 36 Friday, day before the fight. Shout out to her. Happy birthday. Happy late birthday.
Oh, you froze up, bro. You froze up. No audio. I'm not getting audio from you.
Loved her.
Oh, there you go. All right, you're back. You mind redoing that? I don't know. Something was going on there.
It's all good. So Antonina Shevchenko, minus 135 in this fight. Favorite. going up against Ariana Lipski, who is plus 115. Her nickname's Queen of Violence. We love her. If you go back to our breakdown in which she first showed up in the UFC, she got a disgusting knee bar victory. And I only say disgusting because she literally ripped this woman's knee apart. And I'm not going to say that it was not skillful, but it was slightly lucky because this girl tried to put her in a reverse calf slicer, which essentially gave her the knee bar, like, without any question. She just literally reached. Like, if you remember the fight, D-Max, she looked down and saw a leg and was like, oh, my leg, and just fucking ripped it up. So she is the Queen of Violence. I'm not taking that away from her. She is a world champion in Muay Thai. So is Shevchenko. So this was going to be a fight of who is just overall stronger in the clinch, right? Because they both have this striking pedigree that's, like, world-class. So essentially, she's just a stronger woman.
In Vegas had Lipski at plus 115. So I keep saying I stuck my neck out. Like, it's not like, you know what I mean?
No,
like,
this was a pick'em. This was a pick'em.
Yeah, it was pretty close to a pick'em. I need to kind of be a little easier on myself. I swore I had this one. Like, I felt so good. I think my UFC knowledge of these up-and-coming fighters is going to pay off right here. But, like, I
liked her chances. I'm not going to say I didn't like her chances. Like, I think I was 3 out of 10 confidence in picking Antonina in this fight. Like, I wasn't very confident in it. I just thought that her skill set was just slightly larger than Lipski's.
I got to be real. I also got to claim ignorance on this. I got to be real. I thought Antonina was the younger sister. I didn't know
she's older. Sister. Yeah.
That honestly probably would have impacted my pick a little bit, to be honest.
I think she's the classic case of you almost always see the younger brother be better than the older brother because they play at the older brother or older siblings level the entirety of the time they're their same age.
Yeah.
So, but you know what's weird about that, man, is that Valentina is no, I don't mean any offense to Antonina. Valentina is way better. Way better. Yeah. Like, Antonina is like top 8. Valentina is top 2 females in the world. Yeah, whereas, like, Antonina is top 8 in her weight. So, like,
definitely.
How'd you score the first? I mean, I think I know how you scored it, but what'd you think of it?
Yeah, I mean, Shevchenko, her. This is where I knew I was fucked. It was ground and pound. If Shevchenko would have came out and picked her apart on the feet in the first, I would have still had confidence. I would have been like, like, okay, Lipski just has to make it her fight, as we just spent time talking about. Like, Lipski has to make it her fight. But the thing was, Shevchenko made it Lipski's style of fight and then dominated her at her own game. So
But they have the same style, you know what I mean? So it's like, it was just whoever was just more aggressive.
I don't know, bro. I felt like Shevchenko would just going into it, and maybe this was my ignorance or whatever. Going into it, I thought Shevchenko would have rather kept it on the feet. And then I thought that Lipski would have wanted to take it to the ground. And then whenever I saw Shevchenko dominating Lipski on the ground in round 1, I knew it was a wrap, especially with her sister fighting later. My confidence waned so fast. I was like, oh, I got to eat shit on this one. But yes, I gave round 1 to Shevchenko. I imagine you did as well.
Yep. Just 10-9 Shevchenko. I thought it was pretty straightforward. It wasn't a lot of damage that Lipski took. I honestly thought that, like, if Lipski came out and could avoid the ground in the second, she had a real shot in that fight because she is a monster standing.
Yeah, I thought that I thought it was a little bit of a quick call on the fight, but
Me too.
I don't think that Lipski was gonna win. So that kind of I don't want to die on that hill, but I thought it was a little bit of a quick trigger.
What's fucked up though, man, is like I agree with that. Like as like on an empathetic level, like if you're not gonna win, why would I not save you from this damage? But then it's also like the competitor in me wants to sit there and be like, well, what if she rolls to her back and just throws up an elbow from the bottom and rocks Shevchenko somehow? You know what I mean? Like, it's fighting. There's always a chance.
And I gotta say, I've been watching some older UFC fights, like not super like Royce Gracie old, but just like even from like whenever we first were getting into the sport, like when we were like middle school, high school, like even back then, like not super long ago. The trigger has gotten so much quicker, and I feel you. That's where the pulse of like the sports world was. I mean, look at the football rules and everything. The whole world has gone in that direction. So I'm not saying like they're in the wrong or even really that they had a choice, but like I'm watching like even like UFC 205, like we're at UFC 255, so like 50 pay-per-views ago. Like how like where the trigger has gone from like then till now is like crazy. Like that. What I'm saying is, and maybe it's because I spent this week like watching some older fights or whatever, and maybe so I had that in my head already. But I was like that was a little bit of a quick trigger for me. Like I said, I get it. I get it. Like, I don't want to die on that hill, but it was a little bit of a quick trigger. I don't think she was going to win the fight. But, Shevchenko gets the round 2 ground and pound TKO. Looked phenomenal. I said Lipski. I mean, she fought a tough opponent and lost. I mean, she was the underdog and she lost. So it's not like she like necessarily blew it. It was a huge opportunity for her to like
I would say
herself.
that's all I would say for Lipski in this fight is that she just missed a really big opportunity. I don't think her stock went down at all in this. And honestly, I'm excited to see her fight again because she's not going to get a Shevchenko, either sister, next. So she's going to get someone that has a slightly – like these two girls came from damn near the same part of the world with the exact same skill set and the exact same like merits. So it's almost like you're putting foils in there to fight. Like you don't usually get the best fights when you do that.
No, I feel it. Yeah, and Lipski's super young because she's 26. I mean, she has a bright future. Like I said, I think she's gonna be fine. She ran into a monster.
I'm all in on the Lipski train, bro. Like I swear, even on the cell, like I'm still on her train.
Yeah, she'll be good. I think she'll be fine. But yeah, I mean, Shevchenko's grappling looked phenomenal. I mean, super good because that's how she had lost her last fight, and she obviously also put in the work.
Important to note before we move on from this fight that this is the first time two sisters have fought on the same UFC card. So with Antonina winning, that puts them at 1-0. If they both win their fights, first pair of sisters to ever win fights in the same fight card. That's been done by brothers before, but not sisters.
Yeah, badass. You gotta love it. I mean, Antonina seemed so like awesome of a person afterwards and everything.
She was really cool. Yeah, and they both obviously love their mom a lot because they both talked about how their mom won the Muay Thai Shadowboxing World. Time out, by the way. The fact that the Muay Thai Shadowboxing is a world championship level sport is wild. You fight, you just throw punches and kicks and knees and elbows with no opponent in front of you, and whoever looks the crispest is who wins that. What the fuck is that?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
I thought I like misheard. I was like, oh, maybe that's like a translation thing. But
Shadowboxing World Championships, that's a very real thing. I heard Ariel talking about it on Wednesday. Yeah.
Oh wow. That's I don't know. I really kind of don't want to like it, but
I don't love
older.
that.
But she's older, right? I mean, if it's
their mom
she has to be in her 50s.
She's 58.
Yeah, I mean, what we want her.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
You know
That's pretty cool.
Like if it's a bunch of older folks staying in shape and competing and being badass old folks, I'm with it. But I don't want to see no like 22-year-old shadowboxing champion. That's fucking
like go put it to use. Yeah, go put it to work, kid.
Yeah, no. So that was badass. Also, last quick note: Antonina did win Performance of the Night bonus, which she looked really good against a really good opponent. Like I think that. The fact that she got the bonus when there's a lot of people that could have gotten that bonus, that was honestly paying respects to Lipski because it's not necessarily like what she did, but like how she did it and then who she did it to. Like, I mean, it was impressive as fuck. She looked
like level of phenomenal. Like I'm a big believer in level of opponent has to matter. Yeah. Like if you're destroying cans, which this takes us perfectly into our next fight. I mean, perfectly, man. Because Jordan Wright, 11-0, known for destroying cans. Yeah, he's Buckley. He's
the Can Crusher McGee.
The Can Crusher. That was like his ulterior nickname.
You know that old saying where they say, "Don't kick the can down the road," man. That's what Jordan Wright been kicking cans down the road, man.
Like 11 times, and now he finally ran up against a guy that was a whole can of Campbell's and was full as fuck, and that is Joaquin Buckley.
I think this fight was hilarious personally because. I think the matchmakers knew what they were doing. I think they
did.
I think they wanted to see Jordan Wright get fucked up, like as a punishment for fighting so many cans. Like I don't know.
Well, okay, so check this out. Like in my breakdown, like I picked Buckley to win, but here's the reason I picked him. Jordan Wright has a fight against Jose Hernandez, who is Fluffy Hernandez, is what he goes by in the MMA world, right? The way Fluffy won that amateur fight was just pressing Jordan Wright to the cage and just raining bombs against him. And Jordan Wright's cage defense is terrible. And you saw it last night on display. Every time Buckley would just swarm him to the cage, Jordan Wright tries to put his arms up and put his head down and move. And it's like, what are you doing? That's how you eat uppercuts and hooks from hell. And he did.
Yeah, and Jordan Wright was the much, much taller man. So, yeah, we have Joaquin Buckley, who just came off of the very famous viral Kasangane viral where he did the kick. I mean, it was
spinning
all over
back kick,
First
time in the face. There's 4 spinning back kick knockouts in UFC history. All 3 have come to the body before this. He's the first guy to do it straight to the face. Probably KO of the year. I mean, no, I'm not gonna say probably. Well, I will say because the year's not over. Probably KO of the year. Maybe one of the top 5 knockouts UFC history.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So this guy's been like super, and that was only like what 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago.
A month, yeah.
Yeah.
His Q rating is through the roof right now.
Through the roof right now, and smart on him for capitalizing on it because he didn't take a lot of damage in that fight.
Smart on the matchmakers too to know that their Q rating's through the roof and to give him a guy that they know he'll starch hard.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, so Buckley, I'll say, I don't know. I thought this spread would be bigger, or this money line, excuse me. But like, so
Jordan Wright's undefeated.
I feel you, but I mean, we had no doubts. We can't be the only ones that had no doubts.
That's fair.
But I guess Vegas was just counting on assholes, looking at the piece of paper, seeing the undefeated, and getting the number yeah. So I feel you. Vegas has their methods. I personally thought it was going to be a little bit bigger. Minus 220 for Buckley versus Jordan Wright plus 180. Like I said, yeah, I would have personally said it bigger, but I feel you. He was undefeated. Fight at middleweight, 185. Jordan Wright's very tall. Buckley's the opposite. He's like short and swole. He looks like
just to your point, he doesn't make weight. And when I say that he doesn't miss weight, I mean he weighs under every time. Like if you watch the weigh-ins, which I watched him live on Friday, I didn't know you could do that. Apparently Ariel Helwani and Brett Okamoto do a show now for weigh-ins Fridays.
Cool.
So I watched it. Buckley chugged a whole body armor before he got on the scale. He legit probably walked in at 181, cuts no weight. I don't know why he doesn't go to 70 and fight guys like Woodley and shit. He would fucking bomb those guys.
He doesn't want to cut. I mean, why?
Why, right? He's going to be top 15, 185 here soon. Now, I say that. We'll go ahead and get into it. The first round was Jordan Wright trying to use his distance control, try to throw some nice, thought-out combinations, and Buckley essentially just being a monster and saying, I'm just going to get real close, and I'm just going to throw legitimate bombs for 5 minutes at you. Try to dodge them all.
Yeah,
that's his game plan.
Well, and Wright was lucky to survive the first. He was saved by the
bell. Hell yeah. If there had been 3 more seconds, that was over. 3 seconds.
And just mentally, he cracked him. His tail, body language is everything in MMA, right? His tail was between his legs. He was done. He
couldn't even talk right.
He was mad that he was saved by the bell. He was like, I got to come back out here against this monster. He was toast. And Buckley knew it too. It was blood in the water. And then he came out.
You talk about a shark with blood in the water. I mean, what had taken the second round? I didn't write the time of stoppage down, but 20 seconds.
Yeah,
20 seconds.
It was blood in the water. And Wright, like I said, too. Wright could not wait to get out of that octagon. And mentally, he was finished. It was just another highlight knockout for Buckley. Like I said, smart on the matchmakers to do that.
Just right uppercut, left hook, sleeps the fuck out of Jordan Wright on the cage. It was brutal.
Like I said, eventually, but the thing is, I don't consider, because I was pretty high on Kasangane going into that last
Super
fight.
high. Super high on Jordan Wright coming into this one.
See, I wasn't high on Jordan Wright coming into this one, I'll be real, but I understand what you're saying there. But so he's Buckley, I guess I'll say this. I'll pass it to you. What are your thoughts on Buckley? What do you see moving forward? Is he for real? Do you think he should drop to 70? Because what are we watching here? Is he getting good matchups? I mean, obviously the power is undeniable, but yeah, what are your thoughts? Is he's kind of hard to unpack. It kind of seems fluky, but it's not a fluke if it keeps happening.
Okay, I'm super glad you asked me this question because I have a really, I think, well-developed opinion on where Buckley's at.
Love it, because I don't. I'm confused as fuck.
So he beat Kasangane, who was 7-0 from DWCS, Dana White's Contender Series. So he gets the reason I say that is anyone from DWCS gets extra hype they don't deserve because the UFC wants to push them. Same with Alex Perez in the title fight. They get extra push they don't deserve.
We'll get to that. Geez.
We will. But the other part of that is Joaquin Buckley. So great knockout there. I actually like Jordan Wright. I like his skill set. He's coached by Anthony Hardonk, who used to be a UFC fighter. So Jordan Wright comes from a really solid camp too. So this was a really good win in my opinion. Now it was kind of a lamb to the slaughter as far as styles. But Buckley's 2-1 in the UFC.
Yeah.
His loss is to shout out Trailblazer Holland.
Yeah, we watched that, but we did it was one of our earlier breakdowns.
Yes, sir. And we talked about how when Kevin Holland fought him, he fought with the Philly shell defense, knew that bombs were coming the whole time, and just literally kept his shoulder forward, head back.
And I do believe we said on that breakdown, like Buckley's really dangerous, but just Holland's a smart veteran fighter.
Right. And so my point in that is Kevin Holland, probably a top 10 185 guy.
Yeah.
Now in saying that
was an insane debut.
I think Buckley is right there with Kevin Holland. He's only getting better. He's super young. He doesn't cut a lot of weight, so his cardio is never going to be in question in a 3-round fight because he's not sucking all this energy out. And he throws
jumps
bombs
off your screen. I haven't seen pecs like that in an octagon in my life.
You said it to me whenever you texted me. You're like, that reminds me of Tyson's body. And I was like,
just visually looking at those pecs, it reminds me of Tyson. I'm not saying he's Tyson. I'm not trying to come in with the spice. I'm just saying, when's the last time you've seen pecs like that, not underneath shoulder pads? Jesus.
Dude, his fast twitch on his hooks is crazy. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. And that has to be due to his shoulders and chest. But, he'll throw his, he'll throw a hook or uppercut so fast. And he'll just throw them, too, wildly.
And then you did mention his well, so you said something last night in our text that you said you weren't super impressed, or you probably took it a step further, but you didn't think Joaquin Buckley's striking defense was very good.
No, I didn't. I just thought styles-wise, he presses.
Do you think it was just him not being scared at all of Jordan Wright? Because that's the vibe I got.
Yeah.
I thought it was that was a conscious decision. This motherfucker can't knock me out. I'm the better man. I don't think that was he doesn't know how to have good striking defense. I thought he was just fuck that.
Doesn't fear him. Yeah.
I thought it was more a mental decision.
But see, that's a cool thing to do until you're Jairzinho Rozenstruik and you have that same approach and you go fight Ngannou. And he lands one punch and sleeps you in 9 seconds. You got to be careful who you do that to.
It can form bad habits for sure, man.
Absolutely.
And one last little note: Buckley did get a performance of the night, so we've already gone through all the bonuses. Literally, Antonina got one performance of the night, Buckley got the other, and then Koshi and goddamn Palatnikov got fight of the night. So
if that doesn't tell you the prelim card was much better than the main card, UFC brass agrees with us.
Don't take our word for it.
Fuck what you heard from us.
Go
talk
to
UFC.
$200,000 money where their mouth was to agree with us, essentially. Yeah, good point. Like I said, for sure, man. So Buckley, the cool thing about Buckley is he went from being a no-name last-minute replacement to has the full weight of not only the UFC machine behind it, but even the Sports Center, the larger sports machine as a whole behind him. There's casuals out there who know who Joaquin Buckley is at this point.
Oh yeah, I think he's one fight. He's one fight away from top 15. I think Buckley Ian Heinisch is an easy fight to make at 185 as his next fight. Ian Heinisch ranked number 14. Just came off a win against Mearshart. Who you like?
So you always love to fucking say everybody should fight Shabazian.
I do at 185 because I don't trust him.
But what I'm saying is, I don't like Shabazian. I think he's overhyped. I don't think he deserves that 15th rank. So I say give Buckley Shabazian just because I want to see. I want to see Shabazian quite literally get knocked out of the top 15.
I'm okay with that. I'm all in on that. And honestly, it'd be very similar to the Jordan Wright thing. They're using Buckley to kill. Young talent
guys that have
essentially they're Buckley, you're gonna test these young guys for us because just think about his fight style, man. He literally comes in and throws bombs for 15 minutes. That's so hard to deal with if you don't have a legit skill set.
And while it's not super technical, the bombs he throws are like crisp as fuck.
They're
like,
crisp.
It's not
They're fast.
They're not
fast.
from the hip. Like they're not like they're crisp strikes. Just pretty standard, but like just crisp and just powerful as fuck.
And one last thing before we move on, shout out to Kevin Holland because he ate a few of those bombs and
he's the
still
only guy
fought
that's been
well.
able to eat them. Yeah, he's the
Kevin
only
Holland's
guy.
tough, man. I'm big on Trailblazer.
I can't
big
wait
on
for his
Trailblazer.
upcoming main event. I think that's like 3 fights from now, I think, or something like
December
that.
12th, right? I think it's the 12th.
Okay, is that
December 12th is when Kevin
I'm no
Holland
worse
fights?
at that, but it's coming up. It's like in these next couple months for sure.
Yeah, because the 19th is the Hamzat card. So 12 and 5 will be, and I don't think they have a Thanksgiving weekend card. Is that right? We have one this Saturday?
They do. That's the heavyweights, I think.
Is that the Lewis Blades card?
Yeah.
Fuck, I thought that was December 5th.
You thought you was getting a break. Nah. Straight
Nah.
gas. All gas, no brakes.
Yes,
But yeah, man. Now, let's just get into this next one, because this is just the fact. Like, I get it. You want to have a fire feature prelim, but this was more disrespectful.
This shit should have been
Bond.
the fucking. This shit should have been where Means and Perry were. Means and Perry should have been here, and this fight should have been the feature on the main event.
Duh. Like, what
I don't
in
see
the fuck
how,
was this,
bro? Like, you're talking about,
like, not only like, dude, and like, all right, sorry, go ahead. There's layers to this.
Well, how much sense would this make? Is what I was going to say. Caitlin Chikagian fights Cynthia Calvillo 2 versus 4, 125 women's featherweight in the main card. Then, if you jump to men's featherweight in the next fight, Brandon Moreno versus Brett Royval 1 versus 6. Okay, then flyweight. Sorry, that's what I meant to say. 125. Either way, it's 125 across, right?
Yeah.
Like Chikagian's 125.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So you have the contending women's fight at 125. Then you have the contending men's fight at 125. Then you have the championship fights at both of those weights. It would have made all the sense on earth.
You know what it is? It's that old school stigma of like you can't have that many small guys on a card.
That's bullshit because these two dudes are so entertaining. These two dudes are so entertaining.
But that's what it was. That's what it was.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like what you said is completely correct for the UFC. Like from the way they look at it. But I'm just saying the way they look at it is dumb because I don't agree.
Now I'm about to go in on this. Moreno, not only should he have not been in the goddamn prelim, he should have been fighting for the belt.
Thank you. Why did Alex Perez get this shot? Why was Perez versus Royval not booked? And why was... You know why? I know why. DWCS. That's why. Dana White's Contender Series. That's horseshit.
Horseshit.
Yep. Dude, and I'm telling you.
Not feeling it. And you know what? And we'll get into this too. Remind me of this. Actually, you won't need to, but we'll get into it because I don't want to essentially do a spoiler. But the UFC's actions essentially admit that mistake.
Yes.
Based on what they
we'll get into the fight
booking.
Yeah. We'll get into fight booking, but absolutely.
That's an admission of guilt, in my opinion. But
they pissed me off with this whole design of this card.
So Brandon Moreno, the #1 ranked flyweight contender. Yeah.
Assassin baby.
Heard that correct.
You know what I mean?
-180 favorite versus Brandon Raw Dog Royval. Plus
Love that nickname.
Oh, yeah, great nickname. The #6 ranked flyweight. And this was another one of my upset picks that I got to eat shit on. This one was a little more heart than brains. The Lipsky one, I actually tried to apply logic to. I talked myself into the Royval pick. And you know, out of all the upset picks, I did think it was one of the more cashable ones. But
dude, I totally agree with you. This is one of the ones in my breakdown where I said no pick. Enjoy this fight. It's gonna be a war. I
stuck my neck out for Royval, and I obviously, I got to eat shit on it. But yeah, they're fighting at 125. And yeah, but man, god damn it, round 1 TKO, but there's kind of an asterisk by it.
I wrote on my notes ref stoppage. I didn't write TKO because I think that's disrespectful to Royval because he never quit fighting or defending. I mean, go ahead.
No. I agree with you, like my own personal opinions, but it goes down in the record books as a TKO.
I know.
They didn't put that as a yeah. So, but no, I'm actually really glad you made that point for sure. I like just man to man, I agree with you.
Okay, yeah. Sick.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah. because, I mean, don't get me wrong. Moreno was winning that fight pretty much. I'd see this is where I don't want to necessarily die on that hill because I think Moreno is going to win that fight regardless of the stoppage or he was dominating, man. I mean,
I want to say yes and no, but Royval's
it was so early.
defensive,
It was so early.
yeah, and his jiu-jitsu's so good.
You're right. He's good off
he was
his
putting
back.
Moreno in some scary positions where Moreno was just tougher and is such a good wrestler that he could wrestle through the position.
No, you're
But
right. And
like
that plays into my
Royval's
prediction.
dangerous.
My prediction was like, and I even said this on my last episode of Dreadful Talk, my preview, when I made my spicy prediction of that Royval would get the upset. I said it would be by submission. So like I actually told my bettors, like my listeners, to like take it a step forward further. Don't bet Royval on the money line. Bet Royval by sub, and you'll get a much better number. And that's the only way he would win. So I wasn't necessarily like that far off base. It just didn't go down like that. But that was my logic behind it. So yeah, I guess it wasn't necessarily all heart. But yeah, I would have there's just this thing about me, bro. It's like my flaw as a sports fan. Like I have this irrational rooting for the underdog always. Like if I don't have a dog in the fight, like I always like. If I'm tuning into like a random Thursday night like ACC college football game that I don't give two fucks about, but I'm just drinking beer and want something to watch, like I'm always gonna pull for the upset. Like that's just in my blood. Like so.
Unless I have money riding, I'm always on the side of the dog.
Well, see, that's where I need to draw that line because I'd be like fucking letting that shit bleed over into my betting logic. So, but yeah, man. So I mean, Royval, his arm. So like. Describe the finishing sequence. You're better at this than me. You describe kind of how it all went down.
So it looked like essentially nothing more than Moreno got like a cross wrist, so his left hand was holding Royval's right hand from the opposite side of his body and pulling the right arm across his body, right? That's nothing weird. They're kind of battling for position. And then I don't know if it was like whenever Royval tried to roll out because he was hip locked underneath, which also Moreno should have gone for a twister, and he almost tapped him with the twister, but he had a twister locked up for minutes and didn't ever go for it.
Yeah, anyway, Rogan was going in on that. He was saying that he didn't think Moreno knew how to do a twister because if he did,
probably doesn't. I mean, that's an Eddie Bravo move.
Yeah.
But so essentially, Royval gets his hip over and rolls to his chest, right? Well, that's when Moreno gets the cross wrist, and then they're in some sort of weird scramble where Royval's trying to get himself back up to his knees, and he gets dropped back on his shoulder. And I'm pretty sure we got dropped back on it is whenever it popped it out and dislocated
his shoulder comes out of socket. Which at first, when I was watching it live, I thought it was his wrist. I thought
Me too, because he was holding his wrist, but that was to hold his arm in the same spot so it wasn't moving. And he's screaming in pain from the bottom. He's not defending any punches to his face. He's just rolling to not get punched in the face. And the ref calls the fight. Now, not a bad stoppage by the ref, but not a TKO either because that was a medical stoppage, right? Because Moreno gets off and is like celebrating, and Royval's just laying there screaming.
The only thing...
And there were 2 seconds left in the round.
That and just playing devil's advocate here, Moreno was dropping hammer fist that whole time well. You can't leave that part out of the story because that's the only thing that makes the stoppage make sense. Like I'm sure in the ref's like post-fight report or whatever, he's going to say he stopped it due to the hammer fist. But it's like the human nature of it, like he knew he was in pain. Like that fight needed to I don't know. I think the human nature, the ref is a human being. He did what he thought was helping a dude out. But I also want to go into this because of the nature of the actual injury. Now that we actually have the facts, hindsight 2020. Like I said, the fight was stopped with like 2 seconds, quite literally remaining in the round, maybe even one, like right at the buzzer, right before it. And so conventional, like most people know, like if you dislocate, I've seen it happen on those sidelines of football games multiple times. You pop that motherfucker in and keep it pushing. And so I really think that if the ref would have let that round finish, I think they could have popped Royval's arm back in, and he probably would have came back out for the next round, man. I really believe that's how it would have went down.
I've just looked at both these. You can see that one's a little misshapen on this side. But I've dislocated both these in football games and in a soccer game after that. Played the rest of the game. Like, no problem. That's a finger, so I could just tape it to another finger. The shoulder gives me a lot of worries down the line because, like,
No, yeah,
if you
long
stretch
term.
those ligaments,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I am of the mindset of what happens if his shoulder pops out again in the second round?
Well, no, yeah,
Like, are you doing irreparable damage at that point? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like if I'm Roy Val's mom, you know what I'm saying, or his wife, or whoever, you know what I'm saying.
Maybe even his coach.
I'm happy with how it went down, but like if I'm Roy Val, and especially how they popped it back in, and then by the time
Did you see how his coach did that? By the way,
I couldn't look.
dude,
I fucking
it was the most. No, it was like so skilled. Like I've never seen someone do it that way. It was so legit. Like instead of sometimes you got to put like pressure on it, pull it out, and let it reset up and in, right? He took his hand. So like imagine your hands like this, right? And he started twisting the thumb to where like the shoulder had to like pop back. And it was insane. Like he had his hand down on his side and he starts rotating his wrist and then you see his whole shoulder jump back in.
Well, yeah, and then I think it's fair to mention, like when Rogan was saying how the fact of how skillfully he did it, and how they kind of act like it was business as usual. Maybe that's been happening.
He's done it before. He's done it before.
Which means that like the integrity of that joint is toast.
And that is what I was saying about who knows this doesn't happen in the second round and you start doing like real damage to your shoulder. So like
yeah.
And Dana tweeted after the fight, I don't know if you saw it, that he's trying to get Roy Val back in 2 weeks on the December 12th card. That he's going to try and find him a fight. I don't think that's a good idea. Like Dana said, as soon as your medical suspension is cleared, like you're in a fight. I don't like that, man. If I'm Roy Val,
because is that Dana saying like he feels bad? He feels like
he feels like he got fucked. He literally tweeted, "What a shitty way to lose a fight. Don't worry about that. We'll get you back in there as soon as medical suspension's cleared."
I feel like that's kind of the wrong
It's the wrong message. It's the wrong message.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I guess if Roy Val agrees with them, I guess that's all that really matters in the end. But as far as Moreno, man, that had to feel good after getting snubbed. Like not only snubbed from the championship shot, but snubbed from the main card.
Dude, he had a great mindset about it. Did you listen to his interview with Rogan afterward?
I did, but go ahead and elaborate.
So essentially, Rogan was like, "Do you feel slighted by being the number one contender and like not getting to fight for the belt that's being fought for later tonight?" And Moreno was essentially looked at him and was like, "I don't need a belt. Fuck the belt. I just got to be the best." He's like, regardless, I'm gonna beat all these guys. I'm the best. And then he was imploring Rogan like, "Watch my next fight. Watch my next fight." And I was like, "Rogan's gonna call your next fight, dumbass. Like he has to watch it."
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I remember saying that. Yeah, man, But that's right. That's what you say when you're in that position. Right? I mean, that's making chicken salad out of chicken shit, right? Like he doesn't like. Of course, he wants the belt, but that's what you say whenever you've been snubbed for the belt. But I can't wait to. We'll just remember, folks watching on the podcast. Remember the name Brandon Moreno. We're gonna bring him up after the Davis Figueiredo fight. It all kind of comes full circle, and yeah. So we're gonna come back for the main card. That wraps up the early prelim and prelim coverage. Phenomenal.
It's main card time here on Beefy Boys Breakdown, episode 25. We're 25 deep. Man, that's good, man. It makes me happy. It's a nice, clean number there. Quarter of the way to 100. Episode 100 is going to be a fucking party. But, episode 25, we got this main card. We went over the early prelims and the prelims already, which had chock full of bangers. Actually, all of the bonuses were awarded in all the fights that took place before the main card. So I know I always say I'm prelims McGee, but those folks that think they're too cool for prelims, you'd be missing out. Let me get Harrison on here.
Man, I can't help but I heard you reference episode 100 when it comes up. I'm going to try and find the secret fight footage from me and Kenneth from when he boxed me in the backyard. It is brilliant. Y'all can see me pull counter and throw a 1-2 from hell.
Oh, my God. It's just like when Joey Diaz. Did you see when Joey Diaz, he did the last episode of The Church, whenever he ended his L.A. podcast? He released, there was like a secret videotape of fucking, was it Andy Dick? Or no, not Andy Dick.
Bobby Lee?
No, the lady that owns the Comedy Store, her son.
Oh,
Pauly
Mitzi,
Shore.
Pauly Shore, yeah.
So there was like a secret, it was like an unreleased episode where he gave Pauly Shore like 1,000 milligrams of edibles, and he like straight like wigged out and like sketched out, and like it did not go well at all. And
What? I
fucking,
need to go listen to that.
and then on the last episode, he was like, "Yeah, I got a little treat for you, motherfuckers." Fucking, that was his last episode. So yeah, that can be.
My God.
That can be our secret release too. That'd be hilarious. But yeah, man, this main card. Well, we've kind of been shitting on it. It still had some good fights. It's just for a pay-per-view and then following such fantastic prelims. It just is kind of hard to measure up.
I will say the ramifications and implications of what occurs in the next 5 fights are probably what we talk about more, like for each weight division and the UFC moving forward. But that's never where I want to break in a main card. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like for us to have 7 bangers of fights, 6, whatever. For us to have great fights in the start, and then go to 5 fights that are not necessarily bad, man. Like Paul Craig and Shogun Rua was entertaining. It's not like I thought it was going to go, any different way. What up, P Black? Shout out Parker Blackburn. But then, the title fights weren't overwhelmingly impressive. Aside from Paul Craig and Shogun and Tim Means and Mike Perry, I wasn't really vibing with the main card too hard.
No, I feel you. It left a little bit desired. Well, I guess looking at it, it did have some names. It had some names. It had some rankings. Just right, like that it factor was missing. Like sometimes sports, there's an it factor that you can't necessarily put your finger on. Like certain guys have it, certain guys don't, and it's like on paper, like you can make the fucking lawyer boy argument that this shit was dope, but then just anybody who was a part of it, like it just didn't have that it factor. It didn't have that vibe. It didn't have really the public's give a fuck meter at all.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest loss, is that no one gave a shit about this card, which sucks, man, because UFC Fight Night Felder versus RDA, I was more pumped for than UFC 255. Like if you're going to put a number on a card, make it a fucking good card, man.
I feel you. I think I still stand by the logic that Dana or whoever the fuck at UFC was like, listen here, cocksucker. Y'all done had so many fire-free fights. Y'all better fucking do me a solid on this one. And
For
I'm
real,
sure
though.
A lot of people did. And especially considering, there's not – obviously there's college football going on Saturdays, and he was going up against some big games. But I don't know. Right now there's no basketball. There's no baseball. I feel like public,
not a lot to watch on a Saturday night, man. And I looked at it today on college football scores. There were 11 or 12 games that got postponed or canceled yesterday. So there's a lot of free TV space that is unoccupied.
Sitting around I need something to watch while I pound these beers. And so I don't know. But yeah, we'll get to it. It starts off with, I guess, name power more than anything else at this point. But Mauricio Shogun Rua, plus 150 underdog, number 14 ranked light heavyweight versus Paul Craig, minus 190 favorite, 15th ranked light heavyweight. So, rankings McGee over here loved it. Plus, these guys had unfinished business. They had fought to a split draw about a year to the date before this. So
that was a weird fight too. That was a real weird fight where Paul Craig damn near finished Shogun in the first round, and then Shogun somehow won the next 2 rounds.
Yep.
And it was a real interesting 10-8 and then a 9-10, 9-10, and it's well, it's 28-28. Wow. But how weird.
Yeah. Yeah, so like I said, I wasn't mad that this actually, you know what? This should have been the featured prelim, and then they should have got Moreno and old boy and Roy Val on this card. But anyway.
Yeah, you're right. If Tim Means and Mike Perry had opened up this card, and then you put Moreno as the feature, and then you have Chikagian after Means Perry, that would have made way more sense, especially with Dana White's post-fight comments are that he hopes Shogun retires, even though he has 2 fights left on his contract.
Yeah, I think this, and we're witnessing the same thing in the NFL. It's just the passing of the guard is happening right before
it really is. How many fighters have we heard Dana say in the last month that he hopes they retire?
Yeah, there's Tyron Woodley, there's Cowboy Cerrone, There's
Anderson,
Shogun.
Shogun.
I mean,
Like,
it's the passing of the guard, man.
and those are
Like,
all legit legends in the sport.
yeah, just like this may be Drew Brees' last year. Like, I mean, who knows how many Tom Brady has left? That old generation's done. Yeah, no, it's happening right before our eyes. There's a fusion of youth, which in a way I'm here for. I
am.
No, I gotta say, I don't think Shogun belongs in the same category as Cowboy and Anderson, though. I think he has more left in the tank than those guys did, but I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping.
I don't know.
Because up until this fight, he'd been looking like pretty goddamn good. And he's still ranked.
It's true.
Anderson wasn't ranked. Cowboy wasn't ranked.
That is true. But I also noticed that Shogun has the same birthday as oh god, they tweeted out last night, like same day, same year, but it's a person that's like on a tear in the UFC at like 185. I cannot remember for the life of me. Oh, it's Jack Hermanson.
Oh.
Same age. Literally shredding through people. Like Shogun just has too many miles, man.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like he's just been doing it for so damn long.
Civic that's sitting out in front of the house right now. That's what he's looking like.
Like it still runs. It'll still get you to the market and back. But like shit, you want to go across the country in it?
Yeah. I'm not about to take no road trips. I feel you. So yeah, man. Light heavyweight belt 205. Shogun. Like him, hate him. He's a legend. And then Paul Craig, man. He's very skilled. He's very skilled. I don't think he's necessarily like elite, but he's no slouch. I mean, he's a good fighter.
Yeah, and sometimes I think Paul Craig he gets in his own head. Like if he would just fight a straight up fight without I think he over game plans. As crazy as that sounds, like I think he gets too deep, and he thinks like this guy can defend this when I do this, so I won't do it. And it's like, why don't you just fight your fight? Like we talked about earlier. Like I think Paul Craig is one of those guys that falls victim to not fighting his own style all too often. And last night he actually did fight his own style.
Yeah, he did. He's an elite grappler. But yeah, in round one, Craig, he had some deep sub attempts that didn't quite finish, and then he had multiple takedowns. I mean, pretty from a grappling and wrestling perspective, pretty dominant first round.
Oh yeah, I mean I scored it 10-9 to Craig. Now I will say Shogun did reverse him with about 90 seconds to go in that first round, and they eventually got back to their feet. But it was a real weird scramble they got into, and I mean, good on Shogun. Like, he has good jiu-jitsu, and he always has, and he's done it for so long.
He's skilled.
But Paul Craig, this is what I'm saying is, I know you're a jiu-jitsu guy, Paul Craig, but obviously you could have just rained down hammers on Shogun the whole time, because we'll get to it, but, you know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes the jiu-jitsu guy just needs to look at it and say, I'm right here. I could just punch him in his face.
Well, we're not in gis. This isn't a jiu-jitsu
right.
match.
You're not getting a collar choke. You're not getting a lapel choke.
Right. This is, I don't know. I feel like it's an MMA fight. Yeah. But, round two, I mean, let's go ahead and get to it. Let's not beat around the bush. Paul Craig goes ahead and pretty much does what you were just calling for. He finishes him off with ground and pound, but you're essentially saying he could have done that in the first if he just would have did it. But,
I honestly think that. I really do think that's true. If he had just started to swing on him and put him under more pressure, because, Shogun knew that he wasn't going to do that or thought he wasn't going to do that, so he was just grappling against him, just defensively grappling.
I feel you, but it's whenever you fight a super veteran guy, aren't you a little you don't want to have pedal to the metal, right? You can end up in a mistake, you don't want to beat yourself, you know what I mean? But I mean it's hard to get mad at a second round TKO against a legend who's ranked higher than you technically, and I mean it's weird. Paul Craig was the favorite, but if you say those things, he beat a Hall of Famer who's ranked higher than him. It sounds a lot better.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it depends on how you look at it.
Yeah.
Depends definitely on how you look at it. But you know what else?
Oh, go ahead, brother.
I was just going to say, I wrote down Craig by TKO, but then I wrote submission question mark? Because Shogun starts tapping to strikes, which is super rare. You never see that, and I think
I didn't see it. I heard everybody talking about it. I watched it twice. I didn't see it, but maybe I'm just stupid, or maybe I kept looking away or sneezing, or who knows.
It was slight, and it was also I think everyone in the ring had accepted the fate at that point. So Shogun was like, "I'm getting my face blasted. I'm good."
But that's what I'm saying. With today's quick trigger TKO, I mean, what's the difference? I mean, if we're being real.
Good point. And I encourage
the
people.
If anybody's about to get hurt, they stop it. I mean, The
And if
only time. Oh, go ahead.
if you think we're crazy, I was just going to say to people listening or watching, go look up UFC 110 or 112 or pick any number under 150 and go watch, and you'll see guys get their lights like turned off.
I'll say even up to like 205, even up to
Yeah.
it dropped. There was like a quick change.
Because like 178 is an ass whooping, 194 there's like a very questionable fight.
Yeah, no, it's the trigger is very quick. Which, like I said, it's not like the UFC is the only one. Like it's right in lock and step with football and basketball, and even I think soccer and other sports. So like, there's just a whole. It's just like I said, it's probably for the better. Like I said, I'm not trying to like be that old guy, but I'm just. There's a line that you can cross where it's too
much. Yeah, like if it's too early, like you ruin a fight.
And there's a lot of UFC fans way older than me and that know way more about the old days than me. But even me, I'm like, man, even I remember the days whenever it was a little more than this. Like, and the thing was, though, that's what made it great, because for as many probably brutal out-of-line finishes as there were, it also allowed for those legendary comebacks, like those.
Right, Gray Maynard, Frankie Edgar.
Those fucking from the brink of death zombie comebacks that you literally we'll never see that again. Like the rules won't allow it. Like we'll never see another like Steve Atwater in football because like the rules won't allow it. Like
that's a good point.
It's gone, and like I said, maybe it's for the better, but it's not gone at like no consequence, because some of the best fights, some of the best fighters of all time wouldn't have taken place or wouldn't have maybe been where they were. You know what I'm saying, with these modern quick triggers. But yeah, I'll quit telling people to get off my grass, and we can keep it pushing. Paul Craig gets the TKO / maybe submission.
That's all right. Submission question mark is like, if you tap to strikes, is that a submission or is that a knockout? Like,
either way,
I don't know.
We'll call it.
It's a finish.
We'll keep it nice and vague. We'll keep it nice and vague here on Beefy Boys Breakdown. Paul Craig gets the finish in the second round. Yeah, he was favored to win. He wins. I guess he probably just moves up one spot and takes Shogun's spot, right? I mean, that would make sense. Like,
yeah, because I mean,
especially
you're not going to earn 13 by beating 14 if you're 15. You know what I mean? Like, it would only make sense that you would just take their spot.
But that also opens up a light heavyweight spot, especially. I don't know if Dana gets his wishes and Shogun retires.
Well, he's not going to fight him in the UFC again. So, like, I mean, Shogun's done in the UFC, and he has 2 fights on his contract. So if Dana doesn't release the contract, he'll never fight again.
Oh wow, I see what you're saying. That's interesting. So yeah, man. So I mean, that opens up a light heavyweight spot. Who are some light heavyweights? I'm not to put you on the spot, but can you think of any up and comers that? I know on past podcasts I've probably called for it. I'm just not recalling any.
Man, there's just not a lot of light heavyweight heat that you see that doesn't immediately get like a rank. Like Daun Jung, the Iron Turtle, maybe. You know what I mean? Like,
the Iron Turtle. Hey, I'm for it. That's all you have to say, brother. I'm on board.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like looking back through it, and like I don't see a lot of guys that are even deserving of that conversation. And I feel like Un Jung is probably the closest to 15 as you can get.
You're right, because light heavyweight, they skyrocket those guys like
Yuri Prohaska came in and just jumped to 5 or whatever.
Clamor for that, and then now next thing you know, he's ranked 6th and like on the verge of a title shot. So yeah, the guys that light heavyweight's a division where it's not like bantamweight where there's like a bunch of guys deserving of rankings.
You know what else is weird about light heavyweight to me? I'm just looking through it. There's hardly ever any light heavyweight fights. And part of me wants to say that's the easiest weight class to be in as like a 6'1" guy, right? Like I feel like your body will fill that out if you're like pretty ripped. But also, they don't want to fight the guys at the top, man. You see just monsters at the top of 205,
and
right?
I feel like a lot of 205ers cut to 185.
Right. That's what I was going to get to as well. Is like if you're Yoel Romero, you don't want to fight John Jones and Thiago Santos and these guys. Now, granted, Santos is one of those guys that used to cut to 85 and decided, I'm killing myself to make this cut. I'll stay at 205, and his power translated. Blachowicz is the same. Blachowicz used to fight 85, came up to 205.
You know what I'm going to say? I'm kind of maybe being contradict myself here, but Paulo Costa. Just come to 205.
His style at 205 would be better. He wouldn't fight elite snipers.
And the cardio wouldn't be as much of an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, man. But we'll keep it pushing here. Go ahead and introduce this next fight, brother.
In the women's 125, women's lightweight, we have is that right? Lightweight? Why do I always say that?
Flyweight.
Flyweight. Why do I always call it light? Fly. In the women's flyweight, number 2, Caitlin Chikagian. Jeez, I'm butchering names today. Caitlin Chikagian plus 205 versus Cynthia Calvillo, who's ranked number 4. She was minus 240. So a 2 versus 4 matchup here. 2 is actually the underdog at almost a 2-to-1 split, which is, I found, wild. And as we talked about earlier in our prelim episode, a lot of that has to do with her getting a baseball kick or a kick to the head, baseball bat to the head knockout from Shevchenko, and losing to Andrade.
Yeah.
But like I was saying,
I
those are
fell
2
victim to
women
it
that
too,
would
man.
starch every other 125er. So it's like,
Fell victim to it too.
and I get it. You see 2 unimpressive performances, and you're like, what's wrong with her? But then it's like, dude, her competition level was, the top of 125.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
like no one
definitely.
else in that weight class is even close. And I love all the other girls in 125. None of y'all are close.
Man, Calvillo, who I tend to pull for because she fights out of San Jose. I've done an AKA, but she seemed somewhere else that like she just
Dude,
like an old
yeah,
coach
you
in
talk about
football isn't like she didn't get off the bus. Like that's like an old school football coach saying like somebody has a bad game, they just their head somewhere else. Maybe she's having relationship problems. I don't know. Somebody died in her family. I don't know. Her mind, she just seemed like not present. Like she seemed like just somewhere else. She didn't get off.
you talk about
as they say.
fighting your fight versus fighting someone else's fight. Like,
Yeah.
at no point was she ever in her own fight, ever. In 15 minutes, she never once sniffed a takedown. And she's a grappling, that's all she does, man. Like, she really can't strike that well. No offense, Cynthia Calvillo, like, very rudimentary striking. You know what I mean? So, like,
well, and AKA is known for producing grapplers. I mean, DC, Khabib, like that's what AKA does is produce grapplers. So
you know who AKA specifically struggles with though is always fighters that are good at keeping their distance, like Bisping against Rockhold. There's just notorious examples of AKA guys going up against other people that are distance masters and they can't figure it out.
Yeah, guys not named Khabib for sure. And
yeah, good point.
But yeah, so for those that aren't unfamiliar with these fighters, Chikagian is this super rangy striker, super just tall, long, just super long limbs, rangy, great at keeping the distance. And then Calvillo is like, she actually used to fight at 115. She's super short, a little stockier, not super long limbs, like essentially the exact opposite of Chikagian, but she's a damn good grappler. And so just anybody who's ever watched a single fight would know the stand-up game is going to favor the longer, rangier fighter, and that the shorter grappler needs to get it nice and close, get it in the clinch, make it ugly, get it at ground, get it takedown, get it against the cage, regardless, not fight at distance. And
right.
Calvillo just decided to try to be Apollo Creed. Like that was like like all of a sudden she was Floyd Mayweather dancing around the outside, but not Floyd Mayweather because she was getting tagged up but I'm just saying, like her game plan, like I said, if her coaches gave her that game plan, she needs to fire every fucking buddy. And the fact that she's at AKA, I doubt that's what happened. Like, what it looked like to me, just an outsider looking in, is she just wasn't like present. Like she just seemed like just aloof. Like just
and she kept doing weird shit. Like after the second round, apparently she turned and looked at Anik, DC, and Rogan and like gave him a wink and shit. And it's like, bitch, what are you doing? Like I didn't know if that was like code for like I know what I just did the last 2 rounds and I'm about to go out here and grapple fuck her and get a submission in the third. It wasn't close. Like at no point did she ever try to like. I was pissed off watching this fight, and like the only reason I'm pissed off is because I picked Chikagian to win, so obviously I'm happy with the result. But point being, like that was a shit fight for Calvillo to put on because she displayed none of her talents and displayed only her weak spots, which is like, bitch, what are you doing? You're on a main card with your title, like the title of your weight class is on the line. No, like we're all watching you put on a show.
It was a showcase. It was an opportunity.
Thank you.
Chikagian was on a slide. That fight was to build Calvillo up.
Yeah, that was for Calvillo. That fight was for Calvillo.
They were trying to get Chikagian the fuck out of there, like just keeping it real. Like that's how the UFC works. You want the young blood rising and the stale you know,
The stagnation to
challenges.
drop.
Yeah, yeah. And so this was just a platform. It was a big, not a big pay-per-view, but it was on a pay-per-view, and yeah. Well, in Calvillo had pulled out of her last couple of fights, and like I don't know, man. Maybe there's
I
some
don't. Yeah.
distraction we don't know about. Like I said, maybe her dog died. I don't know what the fuck, but she just seemed not like on point to say
Did
the
you score
least.
any rounds for Calvillo?
You know what? I gave her 3. Maybe
I
that
thought
was the
3 was her
best,
best round, but
but I literally wrote that with an "ah." Like I literally like wrote that like dog. This is probably a stretch. Like you know what I'm saying. So I'm not mad at it. Like I said, I very easily could have scored all 3 rounds to Caitlin Chikagi, and maybe it was sympathy, maybe it was the San Jose 408 pride. I don't know, but I gave Calvillo round 3. She landed some pretty stiff punches. It's like some
yeah,
like Chikagi in round 3. What it was, I'm not gonna act like I don't remember. It was just last night. What round 3? Chikagian has clearly established she won round 1 and 2. Like that was really not up for debate. And
very
Chikagian
obvious.
was essentially surviving, finishing out the round, just making
Yeah,
it was
she
going to go
was,
to this. And Chikagian
protecting your lead.
Well, Chikagian is notorious for going the distance and not finishing her fights. I think like 8 out of 11 fights have gone the distance. So
She
like
throws with no
was her,
power at all, just
that
volume, which I can't
that's her
stand to watch.
that's her game plan. That's why a lot of people. That's why the UFC was probably trying to replace her. But it can be effective, and it was super effective. Chikagian established that range and that jab all fucking night, and it was super
Mm-hmm.
effective. And like I said, and this happens in other sports too. But like in football, I know there was games where it's like, man, we lost, they didn't beat us, and it's like
Correct.
that's how I felt about
Correct.
Calvillo. Like she didn't put her best foot forward. I feel like Calvillo kind of shit the bed more than Chikagian was very effective, but she didn't do anything like world changing. She pumped the jab and you know what I'm saying?
That was like the least stock rise I've ever seen in a victory in my life. Like
No,
Calvillo's stock went super far down.
yeah,
Chikagian's stock like barely went up. When
yeah.
you're 2 and you beat 4, like you should get a stock gain in that.
You should, but I got the feeling watching it just eye test wise that like Calvillo lost it more than Chikagian won it, and maybe some would call me a hater or whatever. That's the vibe I got.
I totally agree.
My live reaction, but
And also like Caitlin Chikagian, she needs to figure some shit out because she's hard to watch. Like she's not enjoyable to watch fight because she doesn't throw with power. She fucking kias super hard every time she throws a punch. Like, dude,
that reminds me. Did you hear
dude.
Rogan and DC's exchange? Like DC was like legitimately asking Rogan how to turn down his headphones. Like he was
Yeah.
Like for real. Like
He was like, there's a dial on these or what?
Rogan like cracked a joke. He's literally a comedian, so he like cracked a joke. Like, damn, I might need to turn down my headphones with all these hias. And then DC like 30 seconds later was like, no, like in all seriousness, Joe, like is there a way to
He was like, hey Joe, for real, like, can you turn these down? And Joe was like, yeah, there's a dial on the side.
Man, I saw some people saying like they didn't like Joe Rogan last night. Like, man, it's called fun, people. Jesus Christ, I know 2020's been rough, but like,
well, this card sucks cocks too. Like, this card sucked dicks for him to call. Like, there were no great. I mean, the prelims was actually doing great, but the main card, I mean, like, where the fuck was he supposed to get like inspiration from for these fights? They're all boring as fuck, minus Tim Means and Mike Perry.
And what I love, I was mentioning this to my wife Nina. Whenever Joe's there, DC cuts up in ways that he would never cut up if Rogan wasn't there. That's
because he wants to make Rogan laugh.
Yeah, because he's so competitive, and he knows Rogan's currency is laughter. He's a comedian, so he's like, "Oh, if I can get a laugh out of Rogan, then I'm like, it's like a competition. It's so fun." And to me, but I'm also admittedly a huge Rogan fan. How could you be a podcaster and not be? But like,
same.
But like, what I'm saying is just I was seeing some Twitter hate. I actually fired off a response from our Beefy Boys account last night saying that like somebody had a freezing cold take because they were like, this other account was just like, oh God, Rogan's unbearable or something.
Oh, Fight Ghost? Was it Fight Ghost?
I think so. And I
fuck Fight Ghost, dude. He's been salty.
I fired off the snowflake and like the cold like Gucci Mane Burr emoji, and it was like cold take fam or some shit. But anyway, I just thought I think he brings a lot of life, especially to a lackluster card. But yeah, man. So like round one, Chikagian, she had the jab, distance striking. Round two,
Same
striking,
exact
the
shit.
jab,
Same exact
yeah.
shit. Like 1 and 2 were mirrors.
So yeah, Chikagian cashes at the plus 205 underdog. I know a lot of people won money on that bet. I saw, or at least some people are bragging online that they did. But
she went
we'll
from 220 to 205 in a day. So like clearly people knew money to pour in on her. Like they were smart.
Yeah.
That's what I said too.
Yeah, good point. Next we have Mike Perry. Jesus Christ, fucking what? We'll get to it, but
God damn it, we just need a whole fucking segment for Mike Perry at this point. Fuck the fight,
Perry, like he's the kid from Talladega Nights who's like, I'm too jacked up on Mountain Dew, like all grown.
Yeah,
like, that's what Mike Perry is. He's the jacked up on Mountain Dew kid, but he was a minus 115 favorite versus Tim Means, and this is super weird money line because Tim Means finished at minus 105. There were no plus.
Yeah, well, Tim Means opened at plus 120,
Yeah,
and Mike Perry's tweets just sold him down the fucking river all the way to fight day, which was crazy, dude. Like I can't believe.
Tweeting, like, I don't want it this bad and shit like that. Like,
he was tweeting like he was like, I'm sorry, man, I just don't think I can make it, like shit like that. And I'm like, Mike Perry, what am I supposed to think other than that you can't make this fight happen, right? And then he shows up to the scale, weighs in 4.5 pounds over the limit. Loses 30% of his purse and dabs. Like, yeah, 175.5. Like, hey, no, you're missing the very first requirement of you fighting, sir. I was just like, I was taken aback. And then he's tweeting
like the domestic violence allegations. And he's just
dude,
like,
his pregnant wife and his best friend are his corner for the fight. Like, what are we fucking doing, Mike Perry? Is this professional sports?
This is the same guy who took an Ancestry.com test and found out he was 1% African and started fighting.
And drops the N-word. Yes. 100. That is him.
Wow,
that is facts.
But also just makes him just impossible to root for.
He has an eyebrow tat that says platinum. Like, you can't root for it. You know what I mean? Like, as much as I want him to do well because he's a fighter's fighter.
A guy that would try to sell you some copper that he just stole out of somebody's air conditioning. Like,
dude, apparently, he looks like a meth head. Like, apparently a ripped meth head. Apparently he walks around at like 190, 195, like never gets over 200. And he can't make 170. It blows my fucking mind.
Instagram live, like apparently, like eating a burger like a week before weigh-in, and then he was like,
"Dude, he doesn't work. He doesn't work with a nutritionist. He just tries to work out hard and lose weight. Like, hey, motherfucker, it's a science, and you get paid thousands of dollars. Figure it out."
Yeah, for sure, man. Oh man, but all that considered, I gave round one to Perry. He came out looking phenomenal.
Hell yeah, I gave it to Perry. And honestly, maybe that's because he didn't cut that extra weight. Like, I'm not going to stop. He tweeted on Thursday night, I'm 176 and I can't even sweat. Weight cutting is death to me. Fuck all y'all talking shit, blah, blah, blah. Dude, you'd only cut 19 pounds at that point. You'd cut 10% of your body weight. Like, bullshit, you can't sweat. I watched Paul fucking Felder cut 25 pounds in 4 days. And you're going to sit here, Mike Perry, and tell me that you had fucking 50-something days notice and you couldn't make the weight. That's unacceptable. It's unacceptable, man.
Well, especially it's unacceptable when you're eating cheeseburgers on Instagram Live. You know what I'm saying?
That's the thing is he has no nutrition. There's no discipline for his nutrition. That's why it's unacceptable.
I'm just saying, like nutritionist or no nutritionist. I mean, I don't have a nutritionist, and I can tell you that, like, you know, some baked salmon is gonna be better for me than In-N-Out. You know what I'm saying? Like,
like cut the bread, cut the starches.
Like, basic 101. That's
like no sugar, no bread, no starches. Like, it's pretty straightforward. You know what I mean? Yeah. Load up on water so that your body is like cycling the water out more frequently. Like, there's just so much obvious shit that apparently Mike Perry doesn't A, give a fuck about. B, it can't learn it because he can't read. I don't know. I don't know what Mike Perry's deal is, man. Like, I love to watch him fight.
I know what it is. he was drinking that polluted Flint water, man.
That's
He's
right.
from
That's
drinking that
right.
Flint, Michigan water. That's where he's from. There's something to that, man. I'll say that. But man,
Dude,
round
like he
one, I mean,
legit is like a dumb human. I'm not
yeah.
trying to just shit on Mike Perry for this segment. Like I know I am, but he legitimately is a dumb human. Like if me and you had a conversation with him in a bar, we would both look at each other after you walked away and be like, "Is that dude fucking retarded?" Like it would be like that's true. Like he'd be coming
It's
up
true.
saying crazy shit with a tattoo over his eyebrow, acting fucking hard as hell, and he'd be like, "All right, man, I'm just here to drink a Lagunitas. Like go away." Like I don't get it, man.
But he had that nice takedown, and he took Means back in round one. So he looked great in round one, but then in round two, Means started to establish that jab, and it was pretty much all she wrote from there. Like, because Means was the much taller fighter, much more technically proficient striker, much, just the overall probably better fighter. But Perry just has his infamous power and displayed some oddly proficient grappling that I don't think anybody saw coming. But then the rest of after the first round, and Means was like, oh, okay, I can't let him get all on me like that. He didn't, and he kept the distance and the range, and that's pretty much the story for rounds 2 and 3.
Okay, let me ask you though, did you notice that the scoring, one of the judges scored it 30-27? There were two that scored it 29-28, which I fully agree with. That's how I scored it. Yeah. One judge gave the first round to Tim Means, which shocked the fuck out of me because I thought Mike Perry was winning the first round. It was the only round where he looked dangerous.
Yeah, I imagine that judge has a Twitter account. It was just I don't know. I mean, that's what makes sense to me, but I don't know. I imagine.
And also for Mike Perry was auctioning his third corner spot. By the way, I don't know if you followed this. He was auctioning it to whichever one bid the highest. You know who was the highest bidder, right?
It was Darren Till, right?
It was Darren motherfucking Till, baby. His arch nemesis who wants to fight him so bad. Like, the minute Mike Perry comes to 85, he's getting Darren Till. Like, there's no questions. That's not a fight that's favorable. He'll be a plus 800 dog. Doesn't matter. Like, these guys have so much shit between them. They have to fight.
I love it.
I wish Darren Till could have cornered him.
UFC keeps that element alive, even though it's like not the most like legitimate thing. They let the beef play itself out. I love it because in a world full of internet shit talkers, like it's very rare you get to see it like come to fruition, and it's just so glorious when it does.
By the way, for anyone who thinks they might have a similar sense of humor to the Beefy Boys, give Darren Till a follow. That motherfucker is hilarious on Instagram and Twitter.
He's a great follow. But yeah, so Tim Means wins the unanimous decision, rightfully so. The one judge, whatever.
30-27
Twitter account, but he won the fight, and rightfully so, man. I mean, that Tim Means established the range, the jab, super, and Perry was busted the fuck up. This was another one where if you're just going off damage, like if you just took a picture at the end of the fight and said who won this, it was obviously Means won it. Perry was fucked up.
Also, I root hard for Tim Means. Not a lot of people know this. He's born in Shawnee, raised there as like a little boy, and then moved out.
Really?
In like early teen years and left at like 13 or 14. His nickname is the Dirty Bird, like Thunderbird, being the reason why he lived.
I had no idea why.
Yes, you know how Southern Shawnee is like north of like Thunderbird, like the furthest tip of Thunderbird, essentially. He lived in like that, like in between of like Norman, Shawnee out there on like that far, far east corner. So like he would always be like Thunderbird, being a country boy and shit.
I had no idea.
Yeah,
man.
so that's why he's the Dirty Bird.
That's dope. Hell yeah. Well, man, I'm going to pull an amateur hour move right now. These siders ran through me. I'm going to go piss real quick. If you want to introduce this next fight.
I'll just talk about No, you're good. I'll talk about the odds.
Bladder take. I'll be right back.
So while D-Mac has the weakest bladder on earth, we have another flyweight fight. We're getting the co-main here, so this is going to be the women's flyweight championship, 125 pounds. Herb Dean was the ref for this. Usually Herb Dean would get the main event. Super happy to see he got the co-main. That shows a little bit of change from the NSAC, Nevada State Athletic Commission, which is what I believe Herb Dean is not the best ref anymore. That'll be a question I'll ask D-Mac when he gets back. We can go over it. But to go ahead and introduce the fighters here, we have Valentina Shevchenko, who is the younger sister of the girl who fought earlier, Antonina Shevchenko. Valentina is the champion. They do fight at the same weight class. She is about 2 years younger. and she is the minus 2,000. You heard that right, minus 2,000 favorite coming into this fight against number 4 ranked Jennifer Maia, who was plus 950 on the odds. Now I will note Shevchenko's odds in her last, I think, 3 to 4 fights have all been minus 1,000 or longer. So for Shevchenko to have a minus 2,000 here is like, this is her most guaranteed fight. But then when it played out, it was probably her least guaranteed fight. And I was really surprised. I think Vegas is just, they know that she won't lose to these girls, so they're putting numbers up that are just astronomical, so they cannot lose money on them.
Yeah, and yeah, I know I'm coming in, but I'm picking up what you're putting down. But yeah, so they put up a list of like the past like 5 Shevchenko odds, and they were all over 1,000.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah.
So many people put money on it that they were probably still hemorrhaging money.
Still losing. Yeah.
Because like last night, they talked about it on the broadcast, but there was some guy who like he bet $12,000 to win $600.
Yeah, and what a fucking asshole bet. What a fucking, just time out. What an asshole bet. All right? If you have 12,000 to drop and you just want to make 600 back, give me 12,000. I'll turn that shit on the street very quick. Very quick. I could sell fucking waters at Walmart and turn that money.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, that's how confident people were in Shevchenko. Because, you know, we see these odds and, you know, it gives us an idea. But whenever somebody actually puts, you know, 12,000 real dollars to only win 600 real dollars, it just puts it in. It's like a real life example.
Like, let me ask you this, D-Mac. If you had $100 and I looked at you and said, hey, bro, this shit's guaranteed. You put down that 100, I'll give you 105 back. What the fuck is the incentive in that? I just feel like I'll just keep my 105 bucks and shit.
Yeah. Like
exactly. That's the real mathematical like breakdown. Is like $100 would win you 5 last night. Like, who gives a fuck about that? That's ridiculous.
Who's touching that? Yeah, exactly. Which, you know, it's really just the ultimate respect to Valentina. She's such a dominant champion. It's a blessing and a curse because like. It's so automatic that her championship fight is like it's the co-main on like a super shitty pay-per-view. Like I don't know, it's like it just doesn't make for good television. It in a sport like the UFC now. If and I'm not saying by any means she should go to like pro fighting league, but like in their model where it's like an actual season and like you can see somebody dominate, like when people love watching Alabama go 13-0 or whatever, or Duke, or you know, people like powerful dominant things, but whenever you're fighting once or twice a year and it's always a landslide victory, it doesn't make for the best television. You know what I mean? It's harder to appreciate the dominance in that format.
Let me ask you this. Do you think she's the most well-rounded champion of the champions in the UFC? I think like before last night, I may have not agreed with that, but I mean, she just, along with her sister Antonina, they're both showed their grappling just level up. It's like they unlocked a 2K badge or something like. Well, and like Valentina was doing that last night to a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. You know what I mean? Like was on the ground with the black belt for like 18, 19 minutes.
Was essentially the bigger woman too, the stronger woman. It looked like physically, so that made it that much more impressive. But yeah, you know, let's dive in here because I mean, it's real easy to say, look at the massive money line and then look at the final scorecard and say that it wasn't close and that it was Shevchenko being Shevchenko. But whenever you take a little deeper dive, it was way more interesting than anybody thought it would be, including myself.
This was her closest fight.
Bet $12,000, I'm sure.
Yeah, he was probably sweating his nuts off in the second round.
Yeah,
this is the closest fight for Shevchenko that I've seen since she's fought Nunes, which that says a lot. Like you're talking about the greatest female fighter of all time,
like really, or two up. In the grand scheme of things, no, Shevchenko's skills are just, and like the velocity, like it's almost reminds me of like a baseball pitcher that can just throw 97, but he like whenever you like watch him pitch, it like looks like he's just throwing a lollipop. Like I don't know, just the effortless velocity on those strikes is just kind of God-given, right? Like, it's just kind of
Right.
like you either got it or you don't. Like, it's like a fucking snake strike. Just like, sabow. Like,
Well, like she is. So they both went to Antonina and Valentina. This is both went to a Russian School of the Arts, and Valentina went for Russian ballet, and Antonina went for camera
yeah,
operator,
that's right. That's
which is
right.
super weird as far as like how camera operator would translate to fighting. But I can see how Russian ballet would translate, and that
Yeah, but
is
it
that
also
her
just
hip
shows that
flexibility.
like people are well-rounded, complex things, man. Like I'm
Oh,
all
for
for that,
sure.
bro.
Oh, for
For
sure.
sure.
And I'm just saying Shevchenko, like her skills before fighting translate very obviously to fighting. Right?
And
Like
her
Russian ballet,
post-fight celebrations are fire.
they do look good. They look
Oh
good,
man.
right?
So actually, I want you to do an in-depth breakdown of round one because I'll be completely honest. My stream started being dog shit in round one, and I switched to my phone after that, and it was fine. But in that round one, I did miss like a good, decent chunk because of my stream fucking up.
Yeah, so Shevchenko, honestly, man, got her into like the tied up clinch, hit the takedown, and then just kind of rode her out on top. It was odd, right? Because my expectation was that Shevchenko would get in the clinch and then disengage it, throw elbows in the clinch, but would never take her to the ground because Maya is a black belt in jiu-jitsu, right? She made it clear from the first round that she didn't give a fuck about jiu-jitsu, and she just said,
Yeah.
"We're going down. I'm grounding and pounding you." And like the second round, honestly, Maya obviously flipped that around and did the exact
Yes.
opposite and got on top of her. But as much as the second round, if you saw that, was Maya on top.
I
The
did. I
first
did.
round,
Yeah.
the first round was identically opposite, with
Wow.
Shevchenko on top, dominating. And then the last
Yeah.
three rounds were essentially more of Shevchenko doing more of the first round.
Yeah, that's what's so crazy because and Rogan was hammering it all night. DC was hitting on it. That when most of this fight took place on the ground, the pivotal key moments took place on the ground. First off, like a lot of people, if you would have told them before the fight that most of this fight would take place on the ground, that money line
Oh,
would have not been anywhere close to what it
let
was.
me give you a quick example of if you said more than 50% of this fight will take place on the ground, that would have been a plus 360 probably just on
Yeah,
Vegas.
no, that's
Like that would be almost four
because
times unlikely than
because
what did happen.
Shevchenko's stand-up advantage was just like overwhelming, and in the brief
Yeah,
moments where they were at quote unquote B range, they I mean, Shevchenko was really dominant in that. Those quick strikes that I was talking about, those snake bite like
dude, the
fucking
fourth and
strikes.
fifth were starting to get pretty ugly for Maya because she was
Yeah,
starting to run a little bit lower on energy, and Shevchenko was like, "I can still strike, bitch. Like I'm here."
yo, definitely, especially that fifth round. But what I'm just getting at is, and what Joe Rogan failed to see, and what I still don't fully understand, and besides just big dicking or maybe challenging herself, is just why what was the motivation for taking it to the ground so good? Now, granted, she got the win. I mean, she looked great on the ground, but I mean, she was dominating on the feet. Like, was you think it was just a surprise factor, or like I don't know? Like, do you have like a hypothesis for like what the fuck? Like, why
Uh,
was she so ground focused? Like, it's
maybe better than a hypothesis. In her post fight interview, they asked her like, "Why did you go to the ground so often? Was that something you wanted to do?" Like they blatantly just asked her in the post fight, and she said, "It's not really my decision." I think she's one of those fighters, and this sounds crazy. She is a flow state fighter. Like when she gets in there, it's not her brain that's telling her how to fight. It's her literal like
reaction.
physical reactions. Yeah, yeah. And so she was saying like whenever she got into the clinch with her, she was like, I felt that I was stronger like as soon as we were into the clinch, and I decided like at that moment I can take this to the ground if I want. And then I think she just saw success in the first and decided like I'm gonna do this.
No, I feel you. I feel you. It's like it's like, okay, Kyler Murray, you can run a 4.3. Why don't you run it more? It's like, because I can pass too, bitch. Like I don't
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
saying? Or
It
like
is. It
LeBron,
is.
like why don't you just go to the hole every single time? Because I'm a
He's like, because I can
well-rounded
shoot threes
player.
and I can
Like, yeah,
facilitate. And
yeah,
I get that. And I get that. Like when
yeah.
you reach a level
Because
of
she's on
greatness where
that
you're
level
so
of
great,
greatness that like to
bingo.
put her in the conversation with LeBron is not like a false equivalency. Like that is
No, no,
like
no, no, no.
ballpark. Like there's a level that she's reached where you get mentioned with the elite. I mean, she's so dominant. I mean, like we love on this podcast, and what talking head and UFC fan doesn't like projecting and who can take the belt and who's challenging. It's almost like a moot point in this division because it's just like dog.
It's the same.
Shevchenko.
It's the same at 35 as it is at 25. As much as Nunes controls
True
35,
that.
Valentina controls 25. Like, and Nunes can't make the weight. Valentina can go up to 35 and lose a split decision to Nunes. So it's razor thin as to who controls 35 between those two.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
35,
for sure.
like 35 is such an interesting weight class only because Shevchenko could take that from Nunes, but she could never make 45 and take it from Nunes. They're just
No.
different sized women.
Oh,
So it's one
yeah.
of those things of like, and this might be a Jones Adesanya argument that we are seeing play out in front of us in female bodies rather than males.
And then it's also the reason why there's 97,000 fucking strawweights because everybody's like, I don't want no part of either one of that. There's like the path of least resistance, as they say. But yeah, I mean, Shevchenko, like I said, I just wanted to mention that she's reached like a level of greatness that where she gets mentioned with the greats of not
Yeah,
just combat sports, but especially when you talk about women's sports, I mean, she's up there with the Serenas and the fucking, you know what I'm saying?
oh
She's
for
with
sure,
the
oh for sure. The Steffi Grafs, like you're talking about, like a legend of the sport that will never be forgotten and will always be talked about as being one of the greatest competitors in that sport, regardless of weight.
well, and UFC and MMA is a sport where we usually see like quick ascensions and quick falls, like sustained greatness is like there's not a lot of like Tim Duncans of MMA. I mean, there's a select few,
Absolutely true. That is
but
so true, man.
it's usually pretty. But I'm saying, bro, like there is nobody on the horizon that is like a
Yeah.
threat. Like a week ago, some hopeful hot taker maybe could have said Lipsky, and she was like, "I'll let my sister handle my light work. Like she ain't on my level." You're like,
Hopeful hot taker.
ah.
But like I see what you're saying, bro. Like and my point of that would be that like you see girls like Julia Avila, the Raging Panda, shout out OKC, or like girls like that are on a run or are getting close to one, they're just not even close though. Like as close as you might be to a
No,
title shot, you're not close to these girls' level. The closest
it's
one to those two is Holly Holm, in my opinion.
that's like it's like who's the second best 3-point shooter of all time? Like doesn't like who cares because they're not close to Steph. Like you know what I
Right. They're
mean?
not like it's like Ray Allen was great. Maybe played in a different wrong time period, but like Steph just shoots that shit more purely. And it's
Yeah,
just that
yeah,
simple. It's just you can
yeah.
just see it. You know what I mean? Like the eye test is there. Like when you watch them, they're just dominant. They're just great.
Oh
Every
yeah. Well,
time.
like I said, I just want to give her flowers while she's here. But
Yeah, I think it's important to recognize greatness while it's operating.
yeah, because I don't want to like you know what I'm saying because like watch, there's gonna be a moment where like it gets close to her last fight and they're like comparing her to Khabib or something, and it's like no, like I'm doing that now essentially. Like she's
Well, I think another important analogy for me is like I was talking to my mom about the Last Dance documentary recently, and like she told me I was talking about shoes. Actually, is how we got onto it. And I said flu game 12s, right? Like the 12s that he wore in the game where he had the flu, dominant performance. So they're called the flu game 12s to this day. I bring that up, and she goes, "I don't know what that means." And I start talking about 1996 playoffs or whatever it is. He has the flu, still balls out, still scores 30. Made the shoe famous in that dictation, right? Well, she tells me I didn't even know he had the flu until I watched The Last Dance. And she's a person that lived the Jordan era, watched the games, and was like a basketball fan. So
yeah,
imagine if you
post
watch this
narrative.
without context, it's even crazier, right? So
Yeah,
to have that context in the moment can really help you appreciate how great someone is.
yeah. Like I said, yeah, definitely. And it's just I let's try not to get caught up in the quote unquote boringness of the dominance and appreciate the dominance because just
I
sometimes you
agree,
have
bro.
to. Sometimes you have to. It's like when Golden State had KD and like I'm out here living in the Bay. Like I'm a Thunder fan, diehard Thunder fan. Like I'm not a Golden State
Shout
fan, but
out.
Like, I'm just saying, though, there would be times when you're watching them on TV and you're just like, this is just fucking brilliant. Like, it's just, my feelings aside, this is phenomenal. Just
Oh, dude, their
so
ball
good.
movement, their ability to shoot, their defense was very underrated. That's probably the most underrated part of the Warriors is they actually played pretty good defense
Oh
alongside
yeah.
having the best offense ever.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. We got to do here with Shevchenko. Like, we got to put our, like, personal feelings aside, or we want more turmoil or parody or whatever. And you just got to appreciate fucking Dominic greatness. Man, shout out Big Suave, man.
I was gonna say,
Um,
shout out Rico, man. That's hey, if y'all honestly, we might be hitting up Rico for some intro music. Just while you're here, Rico, keep a listen in. If you're trying
yeah.
to make us a little intro for the Beefy Boys, like, could use it.
It'd be like Lil Wayne on Skip and Shannon, you know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like we
Yeah.
could, hey, any independent music person that wants to like get their shit featured, send it in. Like if it's a good beat, a good little rhythm, has to do with like lyrics with us, send it in. We will
Yeah,
put that shit
because
on episodes.
I
Like we
had
could
an
use some
intro.
intro music.
Been with us from day one knows. I had an intro beat,
Yeah,
and
fuck
I shit
YouTube.
y'all not. I paid $100 for this beat. I didn't bootleg it. I didn't free download it. I bought this beat or leased it, as they say. I leased the rights to this beat, and my shit still got flagged. So whoever you are out there,
And you
man,
submitted the receipts for buying it, and YouTube still said nah. And it's like,
yeah,
what the fuck, man? Like people ask me. Just quick side note: Valentina won the fight, very obviously, 49-46. Only round she lost was the second. We'll get on to we'll get past that and onto the main card. But like people ask me, why don't you guys have like intro videos or intro music? And it's like YouTube is the biggest copyright bitch on earth. Like I couldn't put 1 second of one UFC fight in an intro or any part of our videos because YouTube will flag it and take
yeah,
it
yeah,
down.
yeah. We do have a private website getting built, and
Correct.
that's going to be a game changer. We could maybe do some like exclusive content on there or something like that. But yeah, so we are on the market for somebody to sign off officially that won't flag us on YouTube for the intro music. But yeah, let's get to this main event, brother. Fucking flyweight championship of the world. Go ahead.
Davison Figueiredo, minus 250 versus Alex Perez at plus 215. Is that what you had?
Figueiredo, it got all the way up to minus 285 by
Oh my God.
yeah. Well,
Okay, I wrote that
and
wrong.
then earlier, actually, it got bet down, bro. So earlier in the week, when I was doing my dreadful talk, where I fired off my horrendous upset picks, it was like I think minus 300.
Yeah. And that I thought I don't know why I heard 250, but I honestly like 250 made more sense to me in my head than 285 or 300 because I thought Perez had like some legit things that would present problems for Figueiredo. I was wrong.
Yeah, I did it, bro. I'll be real. I was all in on Figueredo. I love Figueredo. He just, and I would say God given if it wasn't for his notorious struggle with the weight cut to 125, because it's really essentially he's a bantamweight at fighting at 125. He struggles with
Yes.
the weight cut
Yes,
every
like he
single
can barely
time.
make the weight, but he is
So
so huge and so powerful for the weight.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So it's not. I know we talk about on the podcast all the time. There's like some people have God given power or just innate ability or just what I'm saying. Like it's power something you're either born with or you're not. We've made that argument many times, and I'm not taking away from Figueredo. I love Figueredo. I love him at flyweight. I really do. But it's not so much of like a mystery freak thing. It really is like he's really like legitimately just a larger human being.
Yeah. No, I mean
Yeah,
it's yeah, like his
you know
reach,
what I'm
his
saying?
leg reach, like his power, all of it looks like a 35er. It's the same
What
thing Henry Cejudo or Marlon Moraes could do, which is they are literally able to fluctuate between 25 and 35.
and I'll say for the people out there, I've been seeing this garbage ass take that like Garbrandt, like I think I think even at a catch weight 130, I think Figueredo still beats up Garbrandt.
You do? Oh wow, we're gonna have a big disagreement on this show then, because I
Really?
think Figueiredo is not for real at 125.
Bro,
I think he's for real
I
at
don't know.
25, but I question, can he keep making the weight for more than the next 2 years? And then my further question is, does that power actually become real power at 35 against a guy like Marlon Moraes?
I don't say 35. I say catch weight 130 only for the sake. The only reason why I even threw that out there was because of Garbrandt failed to make 125. He tried, remember? He tried and
Yeah.
literally couldn't. So that's the only.
Well,
That's the only reason
medically,
why.
he like they said that it was like a muscle injury he suffered. I don't think it was that he couldn't make the weight physically. Yeah,
That's what
good.
I
Yeah,
heard.
I like
That's
that
not what
eyebrow
I
raise. I
heard.
like the eyebrow raise because I'm pretty sure that's more accurate, right? But like the official report was that like no, he had a muscle injury.
I don't think he
I
can
don't think
make
he can make it.
125. The thing is, he's not a spring chick. He's not young. And
Right.
he's also
He's
like a
also
pretty
5'9" or
tall dude.
5'10".
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I'm
like he's
saying.
not. His frame's not tiny. Like he would look dead at 125. The
And
same as Dillashaw going down at 25. You just look dead
to
when you're
me,
there.
it's all about like optics and shit. Like to me, Garbrandt going down to 25 is about his inability to be effective at 35.
Agree. Like
It seems
why does he
desperate. It
not
seems
just focus
thirsty
on 35, dude? Like
because he
Aljo and
ain't that
Jan are
dude at
not that.
35. No, because bro, I'm telling you, Aljo and Young would both fuck him up. Like I don't know, maybe I'm just down on Garbrandt, but
I don't know about
I
Jan fucking him up though, because Jan likes to box. I think Aljo
yeah,
wrecks
and
Garbrandt
Jan
shit.
can box. That's
But
the thing though.
Garbrandt has a
Garbrandt can.
chin and he throws bombs. So like if he connects with Jan once, he might win the fight.
Mm, I
I know
think
it's an
Garbrandt.
underdog take, but like that.
I think Garbrandt is a throwback to what the UFC used to be before it got as like technical as it has gotten. Like
But you did see him dismantle fucking Dominic Cruz.
yeah, yeah. But I also I'll be real. So I think Garbrandt's one of those guys
Oh
like
wait, no, that was Henry Cejudo. I'm so dumb. That was Henry Cejudo.
what I'm saying. My point with Garbrandt, he's like a streaky shooter. He's like a J.R. Smith. Like he can
Yeah,
get red hot, and some nights are his night. But I just don't think like overall is that great as maybe they're cracked out to be. Like at first, like my actually, and this all leads up to this Figueiredo versus Perez breakdown. Because at first, like I gotta be real, maybe I'm just a Garbrandt hater. We'll see. Well, time will tell. But
yeah.
what I'm saying is, at first, I was glad that Perez got the fight over Garbrandt, not over Moreno. I still think Moreno should have been the fight. But what I'm saying is because the original fight was supposed to be Garbrandt Figueiredo.
Yeah, and
And
then it was Perez and Moreno, and for some reason they bumped Perez up. Shout out DWCS. I don't know why, but fucking
yeah,
Dana White Contender Series,
yeah, that's why. And that really is weak as fuck.
dude.
And
I just quick review real fast. Kosi, Dana White Contender Series, fastest knockout ever, got fucking wrecked by Palatnikov as a big
they
favorite,
always
right?
get red, right? Jordan Wright.
Perez loses first round, right? Jordan Wright gets
No,
starched.
they always
Uh,
do. They
fucking there
always
was a
do.
Yeah, like there was Kasanganai, who Buckley
Kasanga,
starched,
yeah.
another DWCS
Yeah,
guy,
they
and
always
like
do.
and like all these reporters are saying to Dana after the fight and the post fight, "Are you happy Alex Perez fought for the title? Like, does that mean DWCS is a legit thing?" And Dana White's like, "You're gonna see title contenders come from DWCS. You bitch, you control who gets a title shot, so of course we're gonna see that. Your name is
Yes,
fucking attached to their
self-fulfilling
list."
prophecy.
Yeah,
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
like I was so pissed off when I heard that answer. I was like, dude. And then he goes further as to say, these guys are all better than the TUF fighters, the Ultimate Fighter guys. Yeah, because the Ultimate Fighter guys had usually 5 or less professional fights to get on that show. Like that was a part of their qualification. Like
Oh,
it's all so fucking ridiculous.
I
It's
didn't know that. I haven't watched much of the Contender Series, but it's easy to see the politics at play here. I thought so. Like I said, I thought it should have been Moreno, but I gotta say I was glad it was Perez over Garbrandt because, like I said,
yeah.
the Garbrandt seems just thirsty to me. It seems like you can't hack it at 35, so you're gonna go try to beat up a smaller dude. But like I said, I still would have had money on Figueredo, especially if I could get him at an underdog number. Oh, bet your ass I'm putting money on
Oh
that.
yeah.
But anyway, let's stop talking about hypothetical fights and stop shitting on Garbrandt and talk about what actually took place last night because that's what we do here on Beefy Boys
Fair.
Breakdown. So
Fair.
we have Davison Figueiredo minus 285 is the champion, fighting Alex Perez, the number 4 contender, at a plus 215 underdog for the flyweight 125 title. And like I
By
said,
the way, that's a
yes,
weird
sir.
split on the numbers. Like Vegas was ensuring that they did not lose money here. When you see that big gap,
Yeah. I feel
because
that.
that should be plus 265 or plus 255 on like real Vegas spreads, but they added or minus. I'm sorry, and they added it to Figueiredo just because I think Vegas knew he was going to win.
Well, so I broke this fight down on my preview on Dreadful Talk, and what I was saying is because Perez is, I think it was either his last win or it was one of his last 3. He finished a guy at TKO due to leg kicks. Am I correct?
Hussier Formiga, who has beaten Figueiredo.
Yeah, so he finished him with leg kicks. So the UFC does UFC math too. I'm not the only one.
No, yeah. When they see a guy finish a guy with leg kicks, they immediately think, oh, his power is ungodly. It's next level. He's doing shit no one can stop.
So that was the path to victory. So I got to say, because I even said this on my preview, was that was Perez's like path to victory. Like Shevchenko, like when I was previewing that, I was like, yeah, there's not really a path to victory, and I was proven wrong, but not really. But on this fight, I was like, a path to victory exists for Perez, but it's just if he's able to establish that leg kick, you know what I'm saying, which he wasn't. But
yeah, and honestly, they both are throwing some super hard kicks, and I thought Perez landed some super hard kicks, and then he kind of got away from it. Like
Figueiredo has nice hit. I think that's another super underrated part about Figueiredo's game. Like when you think of Figueiredo, when I think of Figueiredo, the first thing that comes
bombs
to mind,
with hands. Yeah,
me too. Rightfully so. He's
yeah.
He has insane power in his hand. But his kicks are fucking like they jump off the screen.
Bro, he's got insane power, and that's the end of that sentence. Like he has insane power. Period. Like all techniques.
Yeah. And I think he's a plus athlete too. Like the way he moves.
Yes.
Like
and one other point that I love to bring up that no one ever brings up is his background before fighting is like a guy that did a bunch of different jobs and was good at all of them, but never found his perfect thing.
He was a hairdresser, I know. And then what else was he?
He was a truck driver.
He was a sushi chef,
truck driver, and hairdresser. Like what? None of those three things have anything in common.
Everything he touches turns to gold for sure. Also, grappling super underrated because he finishes this
Holy
with a
shit!
first round guillotine sub, and he, contrary to popular belief, he actually finished his last fight on a submission too. People think he dropped him with the power, but he actually finished with a sub. So he has back-to-back submission victories as a guy who's known for being a power puncher. I mean, he's fucking well-rounded, and that's why I think he would fuck up Garbrandt.
Well, Vegas, to your point, gave no credence to what you just said. He was a plus 1,000 to win by submission in this fight. And I saw people tweeting fucking wild after he won by submission. They were like, I had that all day. And most people had that because they thought he's going to drop Perez with a hard shot and then choke him out.
Yeah.
Well, he kind of did that, but not really.
No,
very much more technically got him caught guillotine.
Describe this.
Dude, from the heel hook, from the heel hook to the guillotine was amazing.
Yeah.
So if you want me to go into it,
went around his body. Like, I'm gonna give my super layman's fucking bro science version of it, and then I want you to give the real version of it. Like, he looked like he was wrapped around him like garland wrapped around a Christmas tree. Like he just like went from his leg to his body to his neck. Like it was just like he just was like all around his whole fucking body like like Christmas lights on a Christmas tree, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, essentially, if for anyone that does jiu-jitsu would know, like, if a guy's standing and you're starting to lock up heel hook position, like you have your legs crossed around one leg, you scoop the other foot, up on your chest underneath your arm. Well, the defense to that, of course, for Perez is you squat, spin, and try and pull your leg out and turn into him, right? Well, as soon as he spins and turns in, Figueiredo's waiting, and he catches the head and neck. So as soon as Perez spins around and, does like the look at him, essentially like a pigeon going for seed on the ground, because he's got to spin his back around, Figueiredo reaches up and just grabs his head and rolls back. Sorry, I almost pulled my camera down. Rolls back.
Going hard.
and sinks in the guillotine. It was beautiful. It was beautiful
Yeah,
chain
it's
jiu-jitsu.
almost like Figueiredo was playing chess, like thinking 3 moves
Right,
ahead. Like he, like yeah,
right.
he laid the, like I don't even know that he laid the trap because it was all reaction, but he saw where it was going and kind of like had a counter waiting, and it was brilliant. It was absolutely gorgeous grappling. Like I said, from a guy who's known as a power puncher, like if you just ask UFC fans, like because I mean Figueiredo doesn't have the highest Q rating. But I mean, among
No.
UFC fans, obviously he's growing reputation. But if you just ask most UFC fans, casual or not, whatever, just people that know who he is, like myself included, I mean, he's known for his power in his hands. But I
Yeah,
mean,
well,
the fact
Figueiredo's
that,
dangerous. Like, if there's one word I had to use to describe him, it's dangerous, but it's not for his jiu-jitsu or anything else. It's just his power. But now, after this fight, it's almost like maybe he is outright dangerous, and there is a
yeah,
definition of that.
seriously, man, it's hard for me to envision a guy from 120, like a true 125 are beating him. His only, like maybe if a guy, like I said, I don't think Garbrandt's the guy, but maybe if somebody else comes down from 35 or if Figueredo defends this belt a couple of times and then tries to like maybe if they try to like give him another like a shot at the 135 belt or who knows, like a lot of interesting possibilities lie with those smaller guys, especially a bigger smaller
Well,
guy like Figueredo. But
a little side matchup. TJ Dillashaw is eligible to fight in 2 months. I'm not saying I love Dillashaw. I actually hate him for using EPO. He's back in 2 months. That's a very interesting guy for
yeah, it is.
Garbrandt. All of them. All of them.
For
Like,
all of
he
them.
presents very unique problems.
Because the challengers, as they lied, like nothing really. Well, actually, scratch
Moreno.
that. Yeah. Let's get to that. Let's go ahead and make this transition, wrap it up. But
Here,
yes.
I'm gonna go pee real fast. I'm gonna match you on the P game, and I'll let you introduce Brandon Moreno and why you think he has that next shot locked up. Because I assume that's where you're going with it.
Yes, it is. Yeah, go ahead, brother. Yeah,
All
I
right,
feel
cool.
it. Yeah. We're all human here. We're humans here on Beefy Boys Breakdown, and we're humans that enjoy beverages. So bear with us. But yeah, man. So the cool thing about it is Moreno and Figueredo fought obviously on the same card last night. So they both won without taking a lot of damage. And Moreno is the number one challenger. Was even before last night. And that's what really makes this next thing seem more revealing than it really is because Moreno, most feel, got like just completely snubbed from the title shot. And then he got put on the prelim of the same card that the title shot was happening on. Like to me, really big slap in the face there. And then the title shot was given to the number 4 contender whenever you're the number 1 contender. So overall, just yeah, Moreno got slighted to say the least. And so after the fight, so they both fought on the same night. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to do the UFC math there and figure out that Moreno has the next title shot. But I mean, most title shots are at least 6 months apart. I mean, all like usually, and but after essentially post fight, like the night of, Dana and Figueredo and Moreno had all essentially agreed that Moreno would fight Figueredo for the title before the end of 2020 in December. It's
Yeah,
locked in. Like I don't think it's got an
3 weeks.
official date. 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
It does have
3 weeks.
yes. 3 weeks. They're fighting.
What's today? 22nd, correct?
I'll go with that, dog. I'm on quarantine time. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, it says 22nd. So the December 12th card is what they're trying to put it on. Now, if that isn't medically cleared for any reason for Figueiredo, which he won't have a more than 14-day medical clearance, they might push it to the December 19th card with Hamzat, but that would be fucking. They're how would they fill the other cards if they put that many people on one card? But just
And
I don't
give
even
it
know
away
what you
for
said before this.
free.
December 19th, everybody tune in. That's the card of the year, in my opinion.
Yeah. That's a free card, right?
Free card. Just the matchups
Holy
are. I'm not even saying rankings. I'm just saying the matchups are fucking fire.
No, yeah, but I was just laying the groundwork, which we'd have already touched on how Moreno, Figueredo fought on the same night, and then obviously I went over, recapped again the snub of
Yeah.
how Moreno was on the fucking prelim. Not only did he not get the title shot, he's on the prelim of the same card that the title shot's on. And so, like, I think by doing it this way, by like doing this fight this fast, it's kind of an admission of guilt by the UFC to me. That, and we
Oh, it
alluded
for
to
sure
that
is.
earlier on the podcast. Like
It
oh,
for sure
we
is.
fucked this up. Like, this was a disaster.
Yeah. Well, I think it's 50-50, right? Like, they realized, one, we undervalued Moreno and should have given him this fight. And then B, we overvalued our Dana White Contender Series guy precisely for that reason alone. Had nothing to do with his skill set. And he's ranked number 4, so how can you even make the case that he deserved this title shot?
There was
You know what I mean?
no case to be made.
The only case was that he beat Formiga by leg kicks, but like, hey, Formiga got released by the UFC this week. Just a little side note for everyone that doesn't fucking know. So
Wow.
what does that say? Like, you beat a guy that got cut from the organization? How does that qualify you for a title fight? I thought the UFC doing this was a big mistake and was kind of building Figueiredo, to be real. And I had a buddy that I told, this is hilarious, my buddy Yo Hank on Twitch, you want to follow him, he bought a shirt from us, wears it on Twitch now for us. So, like, shout out, Hammered Hank's Casino. He used to be a professional gambler, actually, in Las Vegas. This guy I work with, he's super cool. So he bets on sports, fights, shit like that all the time, right? So I send him all my picks every week. And I sent him my picks, and then I was messaging him yesterday morning, and I was like, dude, the Perez number's juicy if you get it at plus 240, which is what it was sitting at yesterday morning. And I was like, that's a juicy number. So he ended up putting $100 on Perez, and then texting after the fight, and he was like, shit, I lost 100 on that. And I immediately sent him my picks again, and I was like, I didn't pick Perez if you think I did. I just thought that was a good value on the plus 240. So
he was like, fuck, you should have sent me this before.
Well, I do. I sent it to him, same as you. Like, I just sent it immediately to him after. So that's what I was laughing about. Like, as much as you were laughing, I was laughing like, bitch, read my picks. Like, 9-1 last night. Like, read my picks.
Beefy picks are fire. I can't wait for the website to get up and running. We can get those picks on there weekly. But, yeah, so, I mean, Figueiredo holds on to his belt. Like I said, it was kind of an easy title defense by a lot of people's standards. The Moreno fight, especially if it happens in 3 weeks, kind of just – it makes everything right? It'll get this bad taste out of our mouths of kind of this bullshit card and these bullshit matchups and do the fight that should have taken place at the beginning with – now, let me ask you. I mean, I know how I feel, but how do you feel? I mean, do you like Moreno in that fight?
No, I don't, because I think Moreno is just an improved Perez, and if Figueiredo has jiu-jitsu like that, and we know he has bombs like that, I don't know who and how beats him other than Henry. If Henry Cejudo comes back, which he tweeted last night, at Jan and Davison Figueiredo on a private jet with his 2 belts and said, "Yeah, my belts fly private just like me. I don't know what y'all are on, but fuck y'all, paper champs." Is essentially what he said. So it sounds like he's kind of staging himself to come back. He's the most cringe. He's king cringe.
Also, DC said that Cejudo's little ass was walking around at 170.
That's true.
That's what DC said.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
I mean, that would at least be like 6 months away, right? I mean, at the very
yeah. Like, this belt's gonna get fought for 1 or 2 more times, and then maybe next year, whenever all the COVID shit's over, and Henry Cejudo's just sitting on his couch one day and he's looking around, he's getting a little pudgy on his belly, he's eating a fucking KFC drumstick, and he looks around and he goes, "Am I really 175?" And then he starts to get back into shape, and maybe I would say he has to come for the 135 first, because going to 25 first, like, I don't even know if he'll make that weight.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, man, that's fun to think about, bro. But, yeah, man, we're going to wrap this one up. Episode 25.
I have one last question for you before we go.
Oh, yeah.
In the post-fight press conference, a reporter, and this was super, no one talked about it, asked Dana, did you release Anderson Silva's contract? They did. Anderson Silva can go fight anywhere else now. He had 1 fight left on his deal and has been like juggling this retirement shit. Dana made the decision for him and Mick Maynard and Hunter Thompson, and just cut him. They just cut him. So he doesn't owe the UFC any more fights. If you see Silva get booked for a fight, will not be in the UFC, but Silva could fight again, for anyone that wonders.
Okay. Yeah, I think he probably shouldn't. That's my take.
He shouldn't, but he will. But he
yeah,
will. So for anyone that's a big Anderson Silva fan, probably got
watch
one or
some
two
bare
more to
knuckle
see.
fights. Oh God.
Oh, dude.
I'd rather
Yeah,
not.
you know what? Let's not end on that note. That was not a positive note. Coming up next, Lewis Blades. Going to be a great
Yeah.
card. 26,
So
capping off the alphabet.
definitely, and we got mainly the smalls and mediums. We got the smaller sizes left. Smalls and
Yeah.
mediums hit us up. We're running low on the bigger sizes, but smalls and mediums, shoot us a DM. Rep the Beefy Boys. Hey, thanks so much, brother. It was a fun one.
Love it, man. See you next week.